Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar
Welcome to the party.
and Simon.
Gentlemen, how are you this week?
What we do here is very simple. I ask the questions. What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. We are going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons, and then we're going to give our opinions, talk about the guests, the talking points, this, that, and the next. But first, Kamar, how was your week?
I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that we have some new digs right now, but this is very exciting for me. It's hilarious. My week started off on Sunday. Remember you gave me that joint, and then I dropped it in the puddle? And so I put it in my car. I thought, I'll put it on the defrost. Just jacked that up, and it fell down the hole. And now every time I turn on the defrost, my
Car reeks of dope.
car smells like weed. Yeah. But anyways, after that, I went and did a set at Absolute, tried out our Grey Cup joke, and it went not as good because I fucked it up. Because I realized you got to say,
What's our Grey Cup joke?
you couldn't pay me.
Oh, yes, to get
remember
my
saying-
name on the Grey Cup.
But that's the punchline, what I realized. Because you said you're paying to be on the stand the Grey Cup sits on, and then we say, you couldn't pay me to be on the actual Grey Cup. I hadn't realized that part out, so I sort of fumbled through it.
Gotcha. Oh, that's part of working it out, though, isn't
But
it?
it's got potential. And then I did another set on Tuesday or Wednesday and had a lot of fun, and then it all got shut down. So back to
square one.
Get your hopes down.
Simon, how was your week?
Oh, also Simon
sorry.
saw me painting, and that was
That was interesting because now I know he's not actually out there killing people.
it was really,
I was going to say there was a witness to the crime.
he saw me doing my craft, and
doing his craft. Yeah,
it felt good.
Did it? That felt good.
You looked
Kamar?
like you just robbed a bank, though. You had your two gone and were hunched over your steering wheel.
That's how I drive, man. Hunched over
Yeah.
like a Jew.
That was a good week, man. Stuff happened, and then we got shut down again.
Simon, how was your week?
My week, Matthew. Thank you for asking. Since you asked the questions on this podcast, it was okay. Nothing happened.
By the way, we don't have new digs. It's the exact same digs.
Different
We
angles.
rotated the camera from there to there.
But no one has ever seen this part of the room.
It feels way different. I feel much more engaged with the two of you. I can like pivot to Matt if I need to.
Although you were always really engaged. I like it.
According to me.
I like it to Joe change up his studio. It's the same sort of thing.
That's what we did. Yeah, we also got that Spotify money.
Yeah, if I had any money, I would like do a replica just when you guys weren't here one day, and then you'd come in and it looked like a shitty new studio, and we'd all laugh.
Of the LA. Oh, no, you do a replica of the new studio?
Whatever, man.
No, so what I told him, Kamar, was that we should just paint the whole back wall green, like green screen, and then I can just put in Joe's old studio.
Or we could be in front of an ocean.
That's
Or we
what
could be on the
that's what I
Himalayas.
said.
He said a beach.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
could be at Machu Picchu. Oh, we should totally do
yeah.
that.
I really think we should paint it green.
That's as close as I'm ever going to get to Machu Picchu.
Because I can paint it. So that's down.
Yeah, it's just I have to figure out graphics. all of a
But
sudden.
I do watch a lot of green screen podcasts, and sometimes it's annoying.
How does it work now, Kamar? Just out of curiosity, when one of your friends wants just like help painting something, but you're a painter, like, do you then not just help the boys because you feel like that's your job? Whereas before you weren't a painter, so if somebody needed you, you'd just be there?
No one's asked you to paint, so I haven't jumped off that bridge yet. But
Interesting.
That's because no one. It's because.
Oh, no, I'm getting ready to ask him to paint.
Because I was like, if you're a
paint
mover,
this.
No.
he wants you to paint the store.
If you're a mover, you then can't ask that guy to help you move?
yeah,
That's crazy.
why?
He's your friend. And,
And
But you give them beer and pizza or Coke and pizza or whatever.
well, the same thing you would give your friends if they came and helped you move.
The
you
only
know?
thing is,
okay, so let me ask you: if I'm a lawyer,
Yeah.
and I'm your friend, and you come to me and you're like, I got some, I need a lawyer. Am I just supposed to do it for free?
Well,
because
I
we're
assume that
friends?
for sure you're going to give me advice for free, whether you're going to go into court and actually like, and there's a huge difference
That's not
between
gonna
a
happen.
mover and a lawyer or a painter and a lawyer. I mean,
I think it's the scale of the work, but the people I've talked to says you can't do it for cheap because you're just fucking everyone else. So like in comedy,
Right.
people who perform for free,
You'd have to do it for free.
you're undercutting everyone if you
I
do
see.
something. So
Charity is not a thing amongst painters.
I'm going to have to praise the job.
Interesting.
How's your week, Matt?
Oh, I usually say my week's shit, and I'm usually pretty close. This week, my week really sucked. So let's just move on.
Oh, really? Okay, right on. Good to know. I have a redaction to make. Apparently, the bus station is not closing.
Oh, no. 1970s Ottawa stays
It's
open.
still there. Only Greyhound is somebody use that. Thanks to my sister, but I think she's wrong.
You know what I won't redact, though? The fact that it's a fucking shitty bus station.
No, the fact remains the same.
Yeah, nothing changed there.
This thing's too heavy for my...
There's a lit. Okay,
It's too light. It's too heavy.
guy's
It's like
like-
Is it
Goldilocks
Mariah
over
Carey
here.
or Whitney
Fuck.
Houston over here?
literally.
Oh, man. We just want to make it as comfortable as possible.
All right, well, let's. Should we start our podcast?
Is that what we do here?
That's what
Yeah.
we do here. Yeah.
I've said it every week, and I'm sticking my heels in the ground. It's three guests
know, yeah.
a week from now on.
Listen, Kamar. Every week it happens. You strengthen your argument. I'm not. Like I never said you're an idiot for thinking.
I
it.
thought that was Matt's argument. Is that your
that's
argument?
his.
That's
No,
your
I've
argument.
said the new norm is now 3 a week, and
Sorry.
I don't think we just think it's unrolling.
I thought it was you and I who were saying, no, it's 4 a week or 5. And Matt was saying, no, it's 3.
No, you're so used to you guys agreeing and arguing with me.
I'm not used to it when it's you and me against Kamar. Yeah.
the one
I
thing
get
that has been missing is the MMA. And
Not-
MMA.
not missed.
Not missed, but it was more of a normal to be at least one MMA week. But yeah, this week we start off with 1545, an expert in the me, myself, and I disease.
Sorry, can we stop for a second? I had something more I wanted to add to my week. I did 2 things that Kamar asked me to do. I watched Joe Rogan and Lex Friedman.
Oh, wait, whoa, let's
Yeah.
slow down.
Yeah,
Dial it
okay,
back.
because I did. I actually thought that was pretty interesting.
I
I will still contend that I cannot believe that guy has a following. I don't find him a good interviewer. I don't find him interesting, but Joe was so open and honest on that show. Yeah, that was cool. I also listened to him talk to David Fravor,
Lex.
Again, didn't love his part of it, but just to hear that guy talk for another 3.5
Way more in depth,
hours,
way more
yeah,
in depth.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and he didn't have Corbell there. I think to Matt's point, that was that
Well,
really
hold on.
made a huge difference.
I think we can agree that after this week, Joe also agrees that he probably shouldn't have Corbell on again with a guest.
I think he's given enough airtime. And
Well, no, but
helped
he
him
said
warm
he
enough.
was like, if you go back and listen to Lex and him, he was like, I had him and Corbell in, and it was kind of, he was like 3
Interrupting.
people in the room. Yeah. So I think maybe Joe now realizes that the error of his ways.
Or he could have just journeyed on by himself. He wanted to promote something if he was so inclined.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
But the thing about Lex is whether he's a good interviewer or not, like he's crazy, wicked intelligent. He just is. It's just the fact,
course.
like he can have a conversation about anything. He's not the most articulate, and we give him a hard time because he's such a fanboy of Rogan. But
I just like. I don't want this to be mean. This isn't a mean thing where I'm bashing retarded or mentally challenged people.
Oh, this is coming. This is going to be mean.
But would you listen to like you know what? It doesn't even matter. It was
Ooh,
a
I know
great
where that was going.
It was a great interview. It was a great interview because Joe was so candid.
I feel a vindication, and that's exactly what I was saying.
There you go. Sorry, go ahead. List them.
Where were we?
Right at the start. You hadn't even started.
So yeah, we had 1545, a specialist in the condition I call me, myself, and I disease, W. Keith Campbell, followed by the makers of Black Rifle Coffee, 1546, Evan Hafer and Matt Best. And we finished off with the Godfather, the mumbling Godfather of New York comedy, 1547, Colin Quinn. And he got to get his book. I thought he just quit the podcast.
You are a diva today, full diva status.
An interesting week. No, not too much controversy. He's appeasing his Spotify haters.
I will still say this. Listen, I'm with you. It seems like 3 a week since he's been on there, but I still stand by the fact that it's still COVID. It's still got to be difficult getting guests. But maybe you're right. Who knows?
I think he may have, if it's written in, minimum of 3 with Spotify.
I mean, think about it like this too. let's say Joe was making his 40 million a year previously by doing as many as he was doing. Maybe in his eyes, he's like, they're going to give me $100 million and I only have to do 3 a week.
Volume doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. Because as we know in the advertising podcast world, it's really about numbers. So like an Elon Musk, but even then he has to have a reach too, right? Like, I don't know if, I mean, maybe his works differently than ours, but.
And he's preparing himself for a post YouTube existence.
Yeah.
A couple months from now. So,
I mean, yes and no. I think, well, who knows? Yeah, I guess you're right.
Well, he definitely has a new studio in the works.
everything's coming up, Kamar.
Again, I thought that was Matt who said that.
No, you guys were both adamant he wasn't changing the studio.
I wasn't
I'm
adamant.
pretty sure
I didn't say
Matt-
anything.
I'm sorry.
Really? I'm getting so confused here. Well, I'm sorry, Kamar. I guess you were right about it.
I don't think it requires an apology. It's just I heard what I heard. You guys heard what you heard.
Kamar, I believe what I said to you last week was I just didn't remember hearing that at all. That was all I said. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't care after that. I believe you. Mm-hmm. 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 Listen, when you have that kind of money, you can build studios left, right, and center. Mm-hmm. I also will go back to, I said he was going to start a podcast network, and
I think that might be down the road after this Spotify deal.
Yeah, I'm just saying, though, think about it. He's building multiple studios. He even said to Colin Quinn, what if I give you this space to do tough?
Wow, we'll get to that.
Fine, okay,
That's
sorry.
something very interesting. But, I mean, in other interesting news, Joe Budden hasn't put out a podcast in 2 weeks. He ended his Spotify thing, and now he's figuring what he's going to do in his attack, and I wonder if it's going to affect him at all.
He's gone dark.
Yeah, he put out one skit that wasn't funny.
Commercial.
It wasn't funny at all. It was sort of stupid.
Yeah,
But,
stay in your fucking lane.
I think so. I just wonder if how long listeners chomp with a bit, or
Can I just
do
say
we
that?
get
Can I
tired?
just say something? Though?
Champ at the bit.
My bad.
It's funny to me, just before, we'll get to Joe Rogan in a minute, but it's funny to me that someone like Joe Buttons is constantly calling people culture vultures. And he's like, you're not part of this culture. You're not part of my thing. And then he can turn around and do something comedic, which is, that's not your fucking lane. You're culture vulture. Well, no, you know what I mean, though? Shut the fuck up.
I understand what you're saying, and I think it's not exactly that. Like, comedy isn't a cultural thing. Where when they talk about culture, they're talking about rap music. They're talking about
I know what they're talking
black
about.
stuff. So I
Yeah,
just
but
don't.
you see, the difference is that when Lenny Bruce thought up stand-up comedy, or I guess if you want to go back in the Egyptians or whatever, no one claimed it as their own. It was just a thing for everyone. So whatever. This whole cultural appropriation thing can suck my dick.
I know what he was trying to do there, and he didn't accomplish it.
Of course not. He's not funny.
Well, he isn't funny, but he's funny. He can be funny in the moment, in the conversation, like anyone can. But it's a totally
That's
different thing than a skit or pre-written out comedy. He'd have to work on it, or pay someone to do it for you.
All right, well, let's rate the week. Simon?
Did he go through all the guests? You said Colin Quinn?
The
Yeah, he
mumbling
said-
godfather
that's when you
of
got
New
up
York
to get your
comedy.
book.
You walked out. You walked out on me
Sorry.
in the middle of my fucking intro.
I give this week a... Come back to me. I got to think about it.
Mariah Carey.
Diva.
Someday. Ooh, someday.
I hope you can hit a pitch like her or else fuck off.
Well, I don't mind putting my neck out there. I give it a 3.5.
3.5 from Kamar.
Solid 3.5 from Kamar.
I'm going to give it... Oh, it's tough. I guess a 3.
I give it a 3 also.
Are you just going to Prices Right me there? Was that the idea?
301.
Okay,
301. $1.
I think one of the things is I do appreciate a 3-hour conversation with a comedian about comedy more than some people do.
No, I love that episode. My problem, again, this week gets dragged down by one episode.
In the middle.
Shit sandwich.
But that was a Tale of Two podcast, as I like to say, is a cliche.
I guess we'll get there.
Yes, we will.
On our way.
All right, well, let's get into it.
1545 W. Keith Campbell.
Go ahead, do your thing.
And he's a W because his father was a W and his grandfather was a W.
You did the research?
And on this day in history, no, I'm just joking. No, he told us that. Joe, right at the end, asked him, "Why are you a W?" He said, "Oh, it's just a family thing." So, yeah, I mean, I really like this episode. It's I equate this one to like a Dr. Walker episode, you know, the sleep guy, where it's just like you learn a bunch of shit about something you probably knew a bunch of shit about already.
I thought the scariest was like right off the jump when he was like, well, I think we're finding a lot of COVID because we're testing for it. He's like, if we tested for mental illness, we'd find it in everyone. But we don't test for it unless there's like a serious issue. I was like, great. So this guy's saying that pretty much 95% of us are seriously unbalanced, but
I probably think that's true.
I don't know if serious unbalance, but off kilter.
And listen, humans are so varied. Like,
yeah, I agree. But I just felt like it was a weird, like to think about people that are asymptomatic with COVID. You're not just going to not test them because they're not showing symptoms, right? They're still spreading it around. It was a weird analogy to me to be like, because I'm with you. Yes, it's probably 100%. I don't think there's anyone walking this earth that is just an even keeled. I think we all have a few bats in the belfry, as it were.
Yeah, well, and that's just it, is this whole narcissism thing. Like, everybody has that.
Of course.
It's built into your ego, which everybody has. Like, that's part of what makes you, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
My problem with this podcast was since it was just focused about Trump more, I thought Joe was a little flippant about it because I've spoken before. I had a friend who had this full-blown, like severe narcissistic personality disorder. Mm-hmm. And it's not only just the person, how they behave, but how it affects others around them. And I don't think Joe took it as seriously because it was Trump and stuff, you know what I mean? But I think it is interesting that like his narcissism is affecting the whole country. Like how people have to react like he's doing this crazy stuff. Like you don't even take it on, but it can really affect you and make you feel like you're crazy. That you're putting up with this behavior or these characteristics of a narcissist. And I think by the end, Joe took it a little more seriously than he did, but I thought he was crack of wise, and it sort of bothered me because it was very close to home. I was almost embarrassed to be like, take this more seriously.
I think sorry, go ahead.
Oh, please, Simon.
I think a good analogy for Joe maybe to have looked at would have been his friend there who committed suicide earlier this year. Because Brody, I just don't think you realize, like part of narcissism can be you're so down on yourself because you feel like
you're not getting the recognition or what you deserve.
Or maybe even that you think that you're so great that you should be living up to a potential that you're not living up to. Mm-hmm. Like for sure, I know there are narcissists out there who never think like that. They just simply think
they're high functioning.
I'm the bee's knees.
I am the bee's knees. Why is shit not working out for me? This doesn't make any sense. Everybody else is wrong because I couldn't possibly be wrong. Mm-hmm. But I think there's also, because it's so baked into you, I think it just shows itself in different ways. And I see what you're saying. If maybe Joe had looked at somebody he had lost under that scope, maybe he wouldn't have been so
I think that's totally possible.
I'm going to give Joe the benefit of the doubt, as I sometimes tend to do. I think you're looking at an extreme. I think most narcissistic personalities are just that sort of, like they can get by day to day. Like you said right off the jump, you were like, I had a friend that was like an extreme narcissistic personality. And I think that's the difference, is that maybe Joe hasn't encountered an extreme case. You know what I mean? And
well, no, but the only case he was sort of referencing was Trump. I believe George W. has a narcissistic tendency as well. But it's like people who have narcissistic parents, they're raised fucked up.
Oh, I believe
because they're not given love because the parent, like it's more what the narcissist affects other people than how narcissism affects the individual who has it. I that's what my observation was.
I think you'd be remiss though to find like a super successful genius, that type of, above normal people who's not narcissistic.
Something. Yeah.
That is baked in there. It has to be in there for you to want to do those things, to think you can do those things. Like,
yeah, but that's kind of the point he made about Pence. Is he was like, well, the reason that Mike Pence isn't Donald Trump is just that he isn't Donald Trump. He doesn't have the same wild narcissistic tendencies, which could tend to get you to the top. Listen, we We talked all last year about the fucking Michael Jordan documentary. Like, that's clearly someone who's a narcissist.
I think most actors, most
You have to be.
performers, any divas.
Anybody who wants to put themselves into the public eye, you know?
And I think a lot of them are coming out of the woodwork now because they're not getting the exposure they want. So they'll do any Zoom, any stupid public service number, anything like, I'm still here. And all these TikTokers are just stealing the thunder. Was it on this episode that Joe gave the glowing endorsement for TikTok?
Yeah.
It was because TikTok.
I couldn't believe it.
TikTok has now surpassed Instagram. And I thought at the beginning, the end of TikTok was when the government said they're going to get, you can't have TikTok on your phone. Like, I thought that was going to make people go, whoa, this is serious.
It was so weird to hear him be like, you know what, of all the social medias, I think TikTok is the least troublesome. And I was like, well, what's happening right now?
It's the most troublesome.
I know.
Every level, it's the most troublesome.
Let's break this down though. Like, it's just people being silly and dancing and happy. Like,
Well,
That's
first
not
of,
it. That's
First
not
of all,
what we're
you
talking
know
about.
that more than any other platform, your information is going to a terrible place. Like for the Americans, those sites, it's probably going to sell you more product.
okay, that's the data's harvesting aspect. So they're all bad. They're all guilty of that. Whether
But TikTok
was it
is
China,
worse.
Russia. To what degree? I mean,
They said it on the social network. They said TikTok is they're not even in the same ballpark as these other companies when it comes to taking your info and what they do with it.
Well, let me ask you too, who would you rather have your information? Your country or China? Or America or China for that matter?
I don't know. I don't know what. From what I understand, China's just going to use my information to send me what I like or advertise to me. Like I'm not afraid of.
I mean, well, listen, but that
I fell in the trap of doing the face thing.
Yeah, me too.
Remember?
That was my
And that was
mistake.
like when you did that, you did everything.
Russia.
You fucked yourself.
You fucked yourself.
What I meant more is why TikTok is not the worst of them is because I think it's the least affecting to people's self-esteem. Like Facebook is just, it's just garbage. Like
I think Instagram is actually the worst for
well,
self-esteem.
Instagram for the likes on your photos and stuff, but TikTok just seems like everyone's having fun and like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like it's almost
That's
silly.
so not
and
true,
that's
though.
why I said it. I think it's the least harmless.
but can I also stop you,
You
there?
like TikTok. That's why you're saying that.
A lot of people like TikTok.
Can I stop you there too though? Like if you went back to the early days of Instagram, I bet across the board that was the sentiment.
I didn't get Instagram. I remember you were the first person to have Instagram and you showed it to me and I got it and I did not understand it. I just didn't understand it. And eventually everyone does it and you should adopt it. But
But even then, but so let's say fine, you didn't understand it, but would you agree that in the infancy of it seemed more lighthearted or less detrimental?
just like Twitter was
But
like
again, but that-
at breakfast I'm having like
Yeah. But that's kind of my point with TikTok is that maybe it's just so new that it seems innocuous. And maybe 2 years from now, it'll change from fun dancing to like, maybe it'll all be political rants or maybe it'll change. You know what I mean?
the potential is there right now in this moment in time. It seems like the least harmless for what it's doing.
Everybody is striving to get famous. It's the exact same thing, man. They're
Yeah,
all the
but-
same. There's no difference.
I mean, that's what scares me the most though, is that there's people out there actively being like, this one's the least, it's got the most, you know what I mean? That's what should scare you the most is that
We're
indoctrinated.
we are indoctrinated into these apps and these social medias unless government step in and shut them down or start policing them. It is what it is. But I just thought that was like crazy that he gave a glowing endorsement to TikTok on his podcast.
I
thought-
couldn't believe it.
I thought he would not.
I would also never, ever want the government to get involved. I'll
Because
just say
China
that.
knows everything about Joe's house.
Yeah,
If his
clearly, yeah.
daughter's doing dances in the house
Yeah.
and they're casing the plate, if that is the consequence.
Well, they already knew, right?
A conspiracy-minded person would say.
I thought it was interesting how he was saying it, in unstable condition, narcissism thrives. And in normal conditions, you know, if you have a guy who is lousy, the tribe takes care of him, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was hunter-gatherers time.
Yeah. Well, I guess when you just get to like these bigger conditions.
Back to the 150 people.
Well, that's
That
how it
would
should
happen.
be. All towns should be
a
150
narcissist probably
people.
wouldn't thrive, but those days are long gone. But I mean, it's just the narcissists themselves are going through what they're doing, but it's really how they affect other people. I mean, you can see how Trump is affecting I mean, I can't believe the amount of people that every day are still bitching about how stupid Trump is. Like it's like he's going to read it one day and change, you know what I mean? And that's the other thing about this. Good luck getting a narcissist to treatment or a narcissist to consider, like, tell them there's something wrong with you. You need to go. It's not happening. The bright part of this, actually, no, what I was going to say is when he started talking about jujitsu and getting rid of ego, I thought I was going to kill myself. I mean, how many times have we heard that? You know what I mean? There's no room because someone's going to choke you the fuck out, and then you know where you're at, and maybe everyone needs that, but then
Somebody is out there hearing that for the first time, Kamar. Just remember.
yes, well, that's why the Cameron Haynes was such a great episode for a new listener. But
Why don't you start doing jujitsu? I meant to ask you that a few weeks ago.
well, obviously, it's trying COVID times.
Well, obviously not
that contact, but you know, I don't.
Kamar's
see
just
why we-
rolling around in the basement with himself.
I think if we ever made money, we should maybe not do jujitsu, but definitely go on a hunt. Just one hunt.
So like pay a guide, like a professional hunter to take us out.
I don't know if you pay a professional hunter. I know hunters. Just go on a hunt. One hunt.
A Bigfoot hunt.
Well, yeah.
No, Kamar wants us to actually kill something, not just going into the woods looking like fucking dipshits.
No, I don't know if I want all of us holding guns, but
Depends.
I'm
on
a good shot.
It depends
okay,
on
you,
what,
well,
on
you
what
could have the
wanna
gun.
Kill.
The whole
Simon's a pretty good shot too, actually.
Depends on what you want to kill.
A
well,
deer.
it'd obviously be elk or whatever for us to feed our families.
I think
and
we
fill our
should
freezer.
Go kill pigs.
Boar, wild boar. Sure, just for once in a while, actually participate in the experience. It was 2 or 3 days, and then we can poo cack out, or maybe we have a whole new perspective on it. But I just thought about the other day that I'd like to go on a hunt. You know what I mean? Once and for all, and then I could really form my opinion before judging all these hunters and stuff. And it may change.
I'm not judging hunters at all.
We're just sick of them.
They just bore me. I don't.
Yeah, it's weird you think that because I don't judge them either. Like I have no problem. I don't want to kill an animal personally. I have no problem with we do it. We have to do it.
If we just stand
You'd
around
be a
this
total
deer, like,
hypocrite.
are you going to slice its head
You
off?
eat meat.
I know,
So
so that's what I'm-
anybody who eats
yeah.
meat and then has a problem with hunting is just not doing their homework. You know.
It was a throwaway. I'm not asking anyone to commit to each other. And the only reason we'd be doing it is because we were successful and had money. So it'd be.
We won't
I'd go out-
tolerate
much easier to
throwaways.
do.
I'd go out to the woods with you. Don't worry.
I'd go out with you guys too.
Little broke
That
back
sounded
experience.
super gay. Yeah.
That's what I meant.
As he was talking, though, you just see how much other disorders are tied into this narcissism thing, right? Like it's like the gateway drug for other sicknesses, you know?
That's weird. I thought the opposite.
Really?
I thought maybe all sorts of other disorders just led to some sort of narcissist. You know what I mean? I think maybe it goes both ways.
Here's the reason I thought that is only because it's so baked into like everything that makes us human, you know? That ego, the id, that all of that, that's like, well, if you believe that stuff, you know, that's really what separates us from the animals.
What I like
And
he-
the thumbs.
What I like he said like trauma, like trauma happens to people and that can develop, you know, personality disorders or whatever, deal with it. But trauma is not necessarily a bad thing. Like the trauma of having too much success or whatever, like just it's not a pejorative always. Mostly it is.
Pejorative.
But I thought that was very interesting because I remember, you know, if I was talking to my friend about like all that bad thing that happened, he was like, "What? Nothing bad happened to me." Like there's a weird
Disconnect.
like I'm just so fine. Like it's just so interesting to see, and it made it difficult for me. It was too close to home. I was biased, whatever, and because I was like glued to this because it just was ringing in my ears and really hit close to home. So I mean, it was a powerful episode, but that jujitsu talk it was not necessary because we know it.
What I was going to get to before was how manic depression is tied into narcissism, because you can totally see like a guy who thinks that he's amazing or a girl who thinks he's amazing, and then is also manic. You know, that's the type of time where you're talking about building walls and shit. You know what I'm saying?
When they protect themselves, like he said, you only see them in public when they're flying high.
Well, of course.
Because they can only be what they want people to see.
This is it. It's like real life Instagram.
But if you are fortunate or unfortunate enough to be around that person
In the downtime.
all times, it's exhausting. And again, you can't tell them you're like this, like be a little less of this and a little like it really is hard. And I hope anyone who has it, if they realize, gets the help they need. And what I was going to say is it ties in with last week's podcast about hallucinogens and psychoactive drugs to treat this stuff.
To break down that ego. What do they
More
call
than
it?
judo.
Ego death.
Or
More than judo.
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. Pardon me. Jiu-jitsu.
Sound like Mackenzie Dern.
I'm trying. And I really like this guy the whole way through until the very end.
Why?
Well, I'm here to talk about UFOs, and it's like,
Well, he did a good job. He waited right until the end.
But it was so corny and like, you can't be on Joe Rogan without talking. It just,
Because right before he went on Rogan, he looked up like the 5 top things Joe likes to talk about and wanted to hit on at least 3 of them.
I guess it's him doing his research, but I thought Joe had no desire to talk about any of that stuff. And I feel like Joe doesn't want to talk about that stuff anymore. To your chagrin, possibly.
Oh, I don't think he'll have any choice, Kamar. I think this stuff is
Because he now does his show from the ship. So it's
coming.
For now, till he changes studios.
Yeah, I wonder if you need to have a massive ego to be really successful, though. Like, because I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, well, start thinking about people you know who are really successful who aren't egomaniacs, because it either one of 2 things happens. Either you were an egomaniac to begin with, and that's what drove you to be uber successful, or you became uber successful. Now you have a ton of money.
Becoming egomaniac.
How do you not start feeling like that's exactly
Coney.
what they talked about in that Joe Rogan episode with, what's his
Lex.
name? Because at one point, Joe was like, well, now that I have fuck you money, which was such a weird kind of, I've never heard him say that before. And Lex was like, okay, so you said fuck you money. So, and then they started talking about how Joe is now pigeonholed into this position. I don't know. Sorry.
No, I was just thinking, I was trying to work it out in my head. I was like, ooh, that's a good one.
Into this position of like, he can't be the everyman anymore because he is $300 million or $500 million rich, you know? And that anytime he tries to voice an opinion like that, even if it's true, people are just gonna be like, oh, what does this rich fuck know, you know?
I think it's really cute that when he was making like way more money than tons of people, that was fuck you money. But it's so weird his like how he changes.
Well, this in his defense, Matt, this puts him in like
Oh, I
before he
realize.
was $50 million.
I realize.
We had talked about this. Now puts him in.
I get
you
it.
know,
Yeah.
and if I'm right, and it's $300 million a year or whatever it is, and not for the length of the contract, you're talking about an awful lot. Like he's really in a different stratosphere.
Yeah,
at that point.
You think hold on. I just want to get this straight. You think Spotify gave him almost $1 billion?
Correct.
No.
The amount goes up every week.
I think that it's probably minimum of like 150 million.
I think it's $150 million.
a year.
A year.
A year. For
No,
five,
I think it's
100 million
for
a year.
five,
It's $150
for
million.
5 years.
It's 3 years. We know this.
Oh, it's only 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 150 totally makes sense then.
So for a grand total of $450 million.
I mean, listen, off what they made.
Thank
in,
you,
like, the
Dr.
next-
Calculus.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they gave him that much. And they definitely didn't give him $1 billion. Let's be clear on that.
Either way, Matt. Maybe. Either way.
No, not maybe. Because just hear me out. Fiscally, it makes no sense. There's no way a company with like a market cap of whatever the fuck theirs is would be like, let's give away a fucking 20% of our market share or of our market cap to this one dude.
I think it's probably $200 million total.
Nobody is talking about Spotify podcast if Joe doesn't move over there.
Interesting.
Listen,
And Joe Budden is probably still there. Thinking he's killing it. I hate to digress, but in that interview with Lex Friedman, Did you love when Lex Friedman came back and said, well, Joe, I think I have fuck off money too now.
Dude, okay, Kamar, I almost threw my phone into the wall.
I knew it.
If I had fuck you money, I would have trashed my whole studio. Like, that was so annoying.
It was almost narcissistic.
It was it's crazy how disconnected Lex Friedman is from the real world. It's nuts. It is fucking nuts.
Yeah, speaking of mental disorders, I whatever. I love Lex. So.
Dude, that was so weird. Oh, I'm so glad you reminded me of that. I was so enraged. I was like, how much money? First of all, I have to check his net worth now, because unless he has like $30 million, the fact that he said fuck off money, mind you, he did qualify saying, I don't need much, right? He's a single guy.
He's a simple man whose mother hates him.
I don't think Lex Friedman is worth more than $1 million.
Let's play the game. I think he's worth $10 million.
$10 million.
He probably has a patent or something, like the AI work.
Hold on. Didn't you see the video that he posted of like his push-up, chin-up challenge? It looked like he was in like a one-bedroom apartment.
What did everybody say?
I said $1 million. Two? Okay, well, I win
Fuck
that
off
one.
money.
Yeah.
That's fuck off money in
I mean,
Lithuania.
listen, hold
It's
on, no,
fuck
no.
off money to me.
That's what I was
just
just gonna
wouldn't
say.
say it to Joe Rogan. When Joe Rogan says, I have fuck off money at $500 million, I'm not like, then, hey, Joe, I also have, Joe, I'm just like you. I have fuck off money too. I got $1 million, you know?
I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but you could see it coming down the road, but he's too big now. He's too big in that it's very, actually, that was the refreshing part of the Cam Haines episode last week, because Cam Haines doesn't give a fuck about Joe Rogan's money or success. You know what I mean? And Joe respects him. And that's where we have a good conversation. But you have anyone who's just like, I'm just so happy to be here, Joe. Like, it's just, there's a weird power dynamic that is going to be there from now on. And Joe can come across as the everyman and comfortable. And I thought this conversation was fine, but it's just never going to be the same.
But to Joe's point in that episode, because he was also like, look, what's the point of having the fuck off money
Unless you tell people to fuck off.
unless you tell people to fuck off? Like, that's why I can still get on the air and say whatever the fuck I want, because I don't give a fuck if you try and cancel me, because I have $1 billion a season, you know, a year on a 4-year contract. Like, the guy's as
Are you sure
rich.
he's not a trillion?
All of a sudden,
It
it's
just keeps
10
going up
yeah.
and up and up.
The guy
This
is
is
as
like-
rich as like Elon Musk. It's crazy.
No, he's not as rich as Elon Musk.
Joe's
He's
Spotify.
a multi-billionaire.
At $1 billion a year on a 4.5-year contract, that's
Kumar,
like,
when you're making $100 million an episode, 3 episodes a week,
when you're making like $1 million a minute.
do you know what it is?
You're Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
It's Joe's Spotify contract has now turned into Job's suit from Arrested Development.
Exactly. Why would the man in a $4,000 suit
Oh, the guy in the $10,000 suit's going to hold the elevator for you.
I appreciated him being self-aware and probably trying to control himself. But I felt the first couple episodes he was in a Coney state. Just getting drunk and like, wow, we out here in Texas.
Can I
Almost
tell?
narcissistic,
Can I tell
sorry.
you something, Kamar? You know what? You know what? This whole thing is missing.
What is this thing? Our podcast?
No.
Oh, I have a laundry list.
Joe Rogan, the switchover, the everything, the fact that he's no longer an everyman. The deal, the Spotify deal.
Hold on, he was not the everyman before this
He
deal.
needed to come on and do an episode just like the one he did with Lex Friedman on his own show.
With Red Band or something.
With Red Band, exactly, where he just laid it all out. You know what I mean? Really honest, really. And then nobody's guessing anymore.
Well, I feel that
He tells us exactly how much he's making per year, probably like 1.8 billion.
he's better served off doing that with Lex Friedman, whatever, just on the side instead of doing it on his platform specifically. But I think we all were clamoring for that.
Yeah.
Week after week with all the stuff in the media and stuff. And
I found it very helpful. Thank you, Kamar.
And
I appreciate it.
I said to him, I said, Simon, I know you. No, I'm not going to. I won't do it. I said, no, it really, it shows you Joe's still there. It's just, there's Joe Rogan Experience Joe, and there's Joe Rogan himself. And
It's not that. It's
was
not
refreshing.
even that he's still there. It's that at least he acknowledges the fact that, okay, I am this uber rich man now, like uber rich. He was very rich before, Matt, But now when he's making like $2.5 billion a fucking year, he's in a totally different stratosphere.
Well, the thing is, he didn't get close to successful, even with his TV shows, till he got Fear Factor. That was the first,
Of course.
fuck off money.
Well, because
level of his life.
news radio was probably like a great paying job.
It was all right.
But it certainly isn't fuck off money, and he doesn't have a family back there. It was just different, you know.
But Fear Factor is when money was never an issue for him again. And then the UFC blew up. Everything blew up. Like, he's been on fuck off money for a while now.
Maybe it has nothing to do with narcissism or ego. Maybe it's just that you start liking telling people to fuck off. And then eventually you meet someone and they're like, you can't tell me to fuck off. And they show you like their bank account and you're like,
Gotta make
okay,
more.
gotta get to this.
Gotta make more.
Yeah. And then eventually you find that guy 10 years later and you're like, hey, remember me? Fuck off.
And maybe it's not even having to find them, Matt. Maybe it's just knowing that those people are out there that, like, you know, what's going to happen if one day I get to the hotel and I want the best room and that guy's already there? That's unacceptable.
It's true. I mean, what if you can't pretty woman everyone?
You can't pretty woman everyone.
I don't know if he's a narcissist, but I saw Dave Portnoy was on the Logan Paul
Hold on. I
podcast.
fucking love Dave Portnoy.
Who's Dave Portnoy? Help me
He
out
started
here.
out
Barstool Sports. Everyone loves him.
You've also seen him. He does the pizza reviews.
Pizza reviews.
Everyone knows the rules. One bite.
Yeah, he's the guy who won the contest to hang out with
With
Trump.
Roger Goodell.
Oh, with Goodell.
And then
then
they
Goodell.
canceled it.
Yeah.
Kicked him out of the stadium in the
I
Super
think
Bowl.
I like him too. I don't know anything
But
about him.
he was saying they were trying to have him on and be joking with him, but he's fucking very
He's
serious,
very Boston
and very
serious,
candid.
yeah.
And he was saying everything, all the success I have is only because of spite. Because someone say you can't do that. Someone say fuck off. Like he wants to buy an NFL team just to tell Roger
I know.
Goodell to fuck off, but he doesn't think it's possible. So, I mean,
Simon, he bought a whole stadium. He made shirts with Roger Goodell with a clown nose on it, and he gave them to an entire NFL stadium, like outside.
you need the chip.
He's the second most spiteful man in America.
Potentially, yeah.
Besides Michael Jordan?
Well, I was going to say Trump.
I was
mean,
definitely
he
going to say
only-
Michael Jordan.
He
Yeah,
only
that's where I was
became
at too.
president because he wanted to spite Obama.
So I think we're seeing a pattern here where you need to have the chip on your shoulder or something to prove.
I got to hit them up. Because when he was talking about Call Her Daddy, he was like, yeah, I found out this chick edits the whole thing herself and does all the video
Oh, you
herself.
watched the Logan Paul?
Yeah. Well, I watched a bit of it. I can't stand Mike Malik or Logan Paul, so. But I like Dave Portnoy, so I watched a bit of it.
See, there's take the Pauls.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
I was
I'll let
just
you
going to
finish
say
your
that's
thought.
a perfect example of like narcissism at true work. There's guys who are like, they've made it rich off this system, like however it is. I don't understand it. Granted, I'm an old fuck. They've tapped into this whatever.
But hold on. This is the weird
Do
one
you
to me.
think, sorry, let me just get it out though. Do you think that these guys are like able to look at themselves and say, I'm rich kind of like through a joke as opposed to...
I hope when they're older through reflection, I've thought about it and I think they're too in it right now. And I think one day, maybe one of them, maybe both of them, maybe none of them may look back and say, what the fuck did I do? And I don't think you can atone for being successful, for being an asshole, or for being an egomaniac. Like it's just, you're supposed to give it all back because it was ungotten, not on merit.
No,
I
I'm not
think-
saying give it back.
Simon, I don't think Logan Paul is a bad person. I don't think he's a dickhead. I don't think he's an asshole.
I like him better than his brother.
Well,
If
this
you
is
have
what
to
I'm getting
choose.
at. What I'm getting at is like, I think he's just a young kid with a lot of money. He's a young, good-looking, fit kid with a lot of fucking cash. You don't like the way he made it or you do, whatever. His brother is a slimy, greasy piece of shit who deserves nothing good. I think Logan Paul is the type of person who will eventually look back and go, you know what, I was a young, dumb kid. I did a lot of stupid shit. Did I deserve all the money I got? I mean, that's a weird thing to say or to think about.
Again, I'm not suggesting at all that he has to give it back, nor that he shouldn't become famous. Because again, I don't understand how it works. I'm just wondering if these guys are able to be like, did Tekashi 6ix9ine or whatever the fuck his name is that right?
Yeah.
Did he know that he was like a fucking joke?
Yes,
Or did
100%,
he think-
100%.
Well, no, because he was out there hanging out with real gangsters.
He knew
so
what he was doing, though. It was all contrived. Like the thing you got to look at these. You don't love them or hate them, how young these guys are and just how different your thought process is in your early 20s. Like,
I also
we can
gotta
do any fucking thing, and like consequences are not in the forefront of your decision-making process.
I was also going to say, Simon, I think you're discounting, like, again, Jake Paul just suckled off his brother's teeth, but like Logan Paul put in you know how hard it is to become successful on YouTube?
No.
Harder than TikTok.
It's dude, it's like becoming famous in real life. It is not fucking easy. There's millions of people trying to do the same thing, vying for eyes, the fact that he is as big as he is, there's literally only like 15 people in the world that are that big on YouTube.
He worked hard to get there.
It's
just
not that's what I'm saying.
Like,
it's
I
not,
would never want to do that.
And think about the life. Sorry to cut you off. Think about, we just spoke about how like, oh, it's all smiles and this and that off camera. Like, dude, who knows? Like, maybe that kid is fucking hurting inside. Maybe when the cameras go off, he's fucking stressed and he's got to deal with like all sorts of horse
he
shit.
overdosed Takashi's in the hospital.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that piece of shit.
That fucking rat piece of shit. What I was going to say, Matt, was I just assume, granted, I don't know a lot about Jake or Logan Paul because
I wasn't defending Jake.
I don't have my finger on any pulse. But I would assume, I did assume that when these people get famous on YouTube or TikTok, it usually starts with one video that goes viral, and then they turn that one video into.
But they do hundreds of
career
video to hit
to
that
get
one
that
video.
one.
Well, but
that
hold on,
goes viral.
but yeah, yes and no though. I mean, that's Logan Paul did vlogs, so with him it was literally just putting out content every day. It had nothing to do with like it wasn't like he was like TikTok is that.
He's the
No,
older,
but he started on
he's
Vine.
the older brother.
Sure.
So he blew up
the
Paul?
older brother.
He blew up on Vine, and when Vine got shut down, he transferred to YouTube.
Fine.
And was able to keep it going, but definitely had a sizable audience.
Sure, but
going-
my point
running
is
at it.
like even that isn't easy. Like ask Kamard, you probably tried to become Vine famous.
Vine, it was hard. I tried a couple things, hoping that I'd like film a radio or something and go, but I'm too old.
Oh, I
to
couldn't agree with you more.
focus on it or care about it or.
If I was,
The young CIA guy trying to make your druthers.
no, if social media, I was going to say the internet. I'm trying to catch myself on that.
Gotcha.
If I was young when social media,
Came to fruition.
thank you,
Yeah.
I would not have done well, man. Like I think what got me through a lot of the time was I just didn't know what other people were doing,
Yeah.
So you never had to feel bad about it because you just didn't know.
Well,
You just didn't know.
I posed this question, probably the biggest narcissist on the planet is probably Kim Jong-un,
Kim Jong-un.
whatever his name is, the leader of North Korea.
Kim Young-jun.
I don't like to give him his full name
credit.
credit. But do you think North Koreans are walking around miserable?
Well, of course they are.
I think some of them are, and I think some of them don't
No.
even know to be happy. Is that what you mean?
Well, that's an interesting. Hold on, that's an even more interesting. Like,
If you're born into, let's say you're born in prison.
yeah, it's the allegory of the cave.
Yeah.
If you grew up inside a cubicle and you only know the cubicle, then
Right?
there's nothing outside the cubicle for you to compare it to.
That's what I'm asking.
And they monitor all the TV that comes in. Like they don't have the internet,
Yeah, but this is the thing.
the
There's-
literal internet.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
There's a lot of revolutions there, though. Like, there's, I'm sure you've seen it floating around the internet. They have these things all over the states where you can donate your old USBs, and
They get over there.
yeah, and they load them up with American content and TV.
Then you
and
get
stuff.
caught, you get dragged off of the night. No one
Sure,
ever
but
hears
if
from
you
again.
live in like the,
That's your choice over there, isn't it?
if you live in like a less urban setting in North Korea,
you probably don't have electricity.
you would never know, right? You're simply get up every day.
We have the greatest
You
leader in
work
the
hard
world.
in the
I mean,
fields
again, though, hold
for
on.
the grand leader, and I'm super happy to do it.
Let's just back up a sec. Most of the country is starving. So I refuse to believe that even if you're brainwashed into believing like our leader is great, think about like I'm a miserable human being when I'm slightly hungry. Imagine being like that all the fucking time. You'd trust me. I don't think most people over there are like, no, this is great.
Well, I think if it was the case, you would see more
I mean, I'm definitely listening.
uprising, right?
But no, but we don't see anything.
If you were hangry enough, Matt,
Simon,
you
do you
would
not hold on?
demand
Stop.
food.
Do you not remember the video last year of that guy running over the demilitarized zone while being shot at by North Korean
Yeah,
forces?
He didn't look like he was having a good time.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
I asked you a question. You said, "Of course they're not happy." Then, well, maybe they are.
Well, no, because then I thought about
You
the
would have to
allegory
monitor
of.
the cave.
I agree that. Then when I think about it, like if you don't know any better, and if you're being fed that all the other countries are eating rats and it's terrible, then maybe in your head you're like, well, if that's what's going on over there.
And we get rice once a day.
I just find it tough to believe
Thank
that.
you, leader.
And they get fake news that other countries have no rice and that they're
That's
actually
what he
doing
just
better.
said. But
What are we doing
yes.
here? I didn't say rice though, so Kamar really wins that battle. He put it in the
Sorry,
proper context.
You said food.
It's no battle. He also referenced No Country for Old Men.
One of my favorite movies.
And I thought we'd do it as the movie game. It's the movie game in the new studio where Simon and Matt go head to head. Oh, you look upset.
Simon had clearly Googled a different movie.
Where Simon and Matt go head to head to figure out what year a movie came out.
I'm just trying to figure out what is SMEO?
The budget and the gross.
SMEO.
Inhibitors, drugs,
SMEO?
smile, schmo, mocha.
You underlined it too.
No, I just underlined it now.
SMEAO.
Like to show you.
SMEO.
SMEO.
Is that a new acronym
So
for
wait,
some sort
so
of?
it says SMEO, Joe describes as everything gone. What are we doing here?
What are you,
SMEAO?
are you asking us to crawl inside your
S-
brain?
I don't know.
SMEO. SMEO. Yeah, I'm asking you to crawl inside my brain. This is the game where we try and decipher Simon's handwriting. What
gonna
was the
happen.
movie, Kamar? No.
No Country from Old Men. Directed by Joel Cohen and Ethan Cohen.
Sorry, what was it, Kamar?
It came out in, just kidding.
What was the name of the movie?
No Country for Old Men.
Thanks.
SMEO. Okay. So the
No
year.
comb. No comb.
So
Trying to make
directed
an acronym of
by
it.
the Farley brothers? No.
No, it's
Third
not
time.
a comedy.
the
It's
The Coen
Coen
brothers.
my peeps.
Starring Tom Lee Jones, Javier Bardem, who I think was the narcissist, and Josh Brolin.
He got all of those names right.
Not the narcissist.
Who is the narcissist
You said Javier Bardem was the narcissist.
in the movie?
Don't you mean the antagonist?
No, I thought when they're talking about no Country Old Men, he was saying he exhibited
You are
narcissistic
correct. Yep,
tendencies.
yep.
I don't know if I'm correct.
I just thought you misspoke. That's all.
I didn't mean
Sorry.
the antagonist or the protagonist or the
yeah.
hero or the villain.
So I am definitely either bang on or 1 year off, and there's no question about it.
Wow.
This is very interesting.
That's
this
not
one.
good. Okay, so I got to think about this for a second.
It's the movie game. Gotta get back in town. Gotta get back in town. The diva in his guesses, eh? It's because he came close last week. He's in the hunt.
Okay, let's go.
What year do you have, Simon?
2009.
I have 2007.
2007. Oh, whoa. Hold on your hats. Hold on your hats. This hasn't happened for a while. This has not happened for a while.
You know what the problem is, though? Neither of us have a chance at this because this is a Coen Brothers movie that was critically acclaimed.
Heat or miss? Yes,
Yeah.
yes. What could happen? But it's been a while since someone got the year. But how does that feel? You sort of perked up in your chair there.
Wow, I mean, I knew.
Feels good to catch one every once in a while.
Yeah, it does. Well, let's see if I can come close on these.
And I hope you guys are all playing at home. And please let us know what you think of the new studio, the new digs. I hope you're safe and having a great Thanksgiving. That's what I forgot to say at the
No,
beginning.
it's
Happy
Canadian Thanksgiving.
Well,
Most of our listeners don't reside in this
or
country.
American listeners might actually have a Thanksgiving because their lockdown could be done because it'll be after the election. If Biden wins, they got to open it up with the new vaccine.
Why you think if Trump becomes president again, he's just opening everything up? No, it's up to the individual states. You know that's how it
I have
works.
no idea what's going to happen. It's
Well, no, but I
so
can tell you
crazy
that's
now.
not how it works. Like what he's just going to do this executive order that overrules every state. Fuck that, man. We'll go nuts.
Maybe he'll give funding to the states that open up.
New
so it'll be a
Hampshire,
carrot.
is it New Hampshire? Live free or die? Like that's right on their license plate, man.
And they don't wear motorcycle helmets.
Fuck.
You call me a diva.
I'm ready.
It's the movie game.
Okay, so let
Matt
me go first.
has
so
a chance
Matt has
to
all
the full
glory.
I'm
Maddie.
not going to do it. It doesn't
Full
matter. Go ahead.
Monty.
So I said 38 million and
Whoa.
222.
Okay, you're way off there.
Interesting.
I said 31.4 million, and it only made 68.9. Oh, that's too bad.
You were so close to the budget. It cost $25 million. And you'll be surprised to know it made 171 million.
So I wasn't far off.
You weren't far off with the total.
I wasn't far
That's
off
what I thought was interesting.
in total.
Well, he was
Yeah,
closer on the
38
thing, but
to
you're
22.
definitely in the neighborhood of the budget.
I feel
Nice
like
work,
that's a win
Simon.
for me.
Well, it isn't though.
Well, but I'll take it.
Chalk it up.
Simon
Points for Simon,
win.
points for Matt for the date.
Dude,
It's been a long time coming.
2 wins. Woo.
You're just chalking yourself up wins wherever you
I
want.
just add them in, man.
Yeah, but as we glossed over it, it really tied in. And I know a lot of people are sick of Joe talking about mushrooms and the powers of ayahuasca and stuff. Well, if you see in the comment board, they'll be like, 15 minutes of Joe mentioned mushrooms or whatever. But
I don't think people realize though that that's how change comes about.
it is coming up.
You want to know what my problem is? I have zero problemo with Joe talking about any sort of psychedelics whenever he wants. It just makes me feel upset with myself because I haven't done DMT. So it like every time he talks about it, I want to do it, but I know that it's going to happen organically.
I think you've sort of dug yourself a hole and putting expectations.
Yes, oh,
into it.
absolutely.
I had a DMT connection
It's
before we went up to the
it's
cottage, and
not
he was
that-
like, "No,
it's not that. It's
set and setting."
again, I have a certain set of circumstances that I need.
And you have no desire to go to Machu Picchu and then veer off to ayahuasca session in the rainforest, shit and piss for 24 hours.
I have zero. I would never want to do any drug that makes me puke. I don't know.
You just wanted the DMT. And
I want to do the synthesized version, I guess.
And then you could know.
The crib notes.
Well, anyways, this is a serious ailment, narcissism. And I wish Joe had taken it a bit more serious. I think at the end he realized, and he's sort of trying to be comfortable with the host. But
Can we play a little game for a sec here? So back to trying to decipher what Simon's notes mean, because there is more to it now, I see, that may help us with the
Okay.
mystery, okay? So the notes are SMEO, SMEO, and then a dash. Joe describes as everything gone, underlined, okay? Gone is important there, I thought, for some reason. And then right under it, I have right away, he was like, oh, I fucked up, LOL. So I thought that was funny. What the fuck is SMEO?
Dude, I have no idea what you're writing down, why you're writing it.
Did he make like an acronym SMEO for something?
I cannot crawl
you
inside
can't
your brain.
recall?
I
Yeah,
have no
dude,
idea.
No, it would be from this episode.
Oh, I know, but
Yeah.
you could have taken something and
Oh,
transformed it
sorry.
into that.
And then underneath, I fucked up, LOL, it says total ego death.
Jiu-jitsu.
No, that's psychedelics.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
know what
it's-
it is. It's not SMEO. It's that I didn't know what the acronym was. It's
Yeah, the SMEAO. That's what I'm saying.
SMEO.
I said that right at the beginning.
That's
That was
I
my
know,
first
that's what I
guess.
said.
The
And
gut
that was
unbelievable.
funny when Joe said it. Yeah, get out of here. Joe said it. He was like, and right away I said to myself, oh, I really fucked up. That was his first thought after doing, because it's nothing. He describes it as, it's just nothing. You're nothing. Everything's nothing.
There's no east, west, south, or north.
I don't like that. I don't want to do that.
No?
It's
That would suck, if you're doing DMT, but not with somebody who knows anything, and you order it off the internet and you get it and you think you're doing the one where all the colors and the people and the fun,
And then you just feel like
you
you're
just
dead.
get nothing and you feel like you're oh my God, that would be terrible.
Would it though? Because when you come back, don't you feel? I mean,
just-
the fact that you're not dead isn't that half the?
I still would be. I would feel like I was
You-
robbed
you
of an experience. You
well-
know, if you expect everything and you get nothing,
That's yeah.
that's
unless the
Wait a
nothing
minute,
is
that is life.
unless the nothing is everything, like you're saying, Maddie.
I don't-
And
I
just the total absence of anything is so orgasmic.
I don't think you can do it now that you put so much weight on it, like with such this expectation. Like if you don't inhale enough,
Don't worry about what I can and can't do. Okay, come on.
I'm sorry, Simon. If you
Well,
if
you can't get on a plane.
if you don't get
Well,
enough,
I could get on a plane. Yes, Kamar, go ahead.
if you don't get enough, it just doesn't work.
Yep.
And then you can't just reload like a half hour later, like do it right. You got to wait a couple of days or whatever. So it's just, we'll see. I want you to do it. I don't think it's going to change you prolifically like as a person, but I know you think about it and want to do it. So.
Oh, no, I don't think it's necessarily going to change me as a person either. It's just something I want to experience.
And I want you
feel
to
like
experience it. I
You're
want
going
to
to do
support
it
you.
with Kamar, and you're going to come out of it, and he's going to be like buttoning up his pants.
Yeah, I don't
And
like
you're gonna look at him, and he's gonna be
Definitely.
like, "Do you feel different, Simon?"
I know while he's under it. I
Does your
pretend like
ass feel different?
my arm got
Simon?
cut off and it's a stump. And like, where's your arm? Like, what are you talking about? I never had an arm.
Just in a whole different reality. Fuck. Okay, good. I'm so glad we figured that out.
Well,
That
we
makes
figured out
me
20 minutes ago, the
feel
first
way
time we
better.
guessed.
Yeah.
I thought you were
dismiss
leaving.
us.
What happened?
I came back.
You decided to stay?
Oh, you have more for this guy. Holy fuck. You have 4 more pages for this guy? Get the fuck out of here. All right.
But it's probably none of it's interesting.
Legible?
Who knows?
Well, I mean, we spent 20 minutes trying to figure out half of your note there, so smeo.
Oh, because then he starts talking about aliens. That's why I have so much, Maddie, because the end was all alien talk.
But he was talking about aliens. Like, Joe, tell me the thing we are annoyed the most. It'd be one thing if he came with his Bigfoot experience or his take on aliens, but he just wanted to entertain me about aliens, Joe. And I was like, you fucking son of a bitch.
Well,
Waste
no,
my
was it,
time.
I thought some of it was interesting, how he spoke about it from like a psychological standpoint.
What
Like how everyone knows what happens when you get abducted, and that maybe that's part of the whole, like, I know
Yeah,
Simon doesn't like this.
the psychological
Sorry, go
coincidence.
ahead. Sorry, what were you saying, Matt? Simon doesn't like?
Oh, anything I say. That's where I
No,
was at.
it's not that I don't like it. I find that I agree with you. I think most abduction cases are not true. Again, I just don't think that means that because they're 90% are fucking liars, that there aren't legitimate cases where people get taken for some reason. And I think those cases, when you actually look at them, the real ones, like, here, I'll give you an example, Maddie. Shit, what's his fucking name? Fire in the Sky there. His name will come to me in a second. It's a famous case where this group of loggers were out doing work, and they were on their way home, and they see this UFO, and what's his name? Whatever this guy's name. Travis, the rest will come to me. He gets out of his car and runs up to this thing, and it hits him with some sort of beam or something, and he's gone. And his friends see this all happen. They get in their car, they drive away because they're so freaked out. And then they get like a little ways away, and they're like, oh shit, we got to go back for him. This is, we can't leave him out there. So they go back to get him. He's not there. And then they find him like miles and miles away.
Wasn't this a movie?
Yeah.
Travis Walton.
Travis Walton, thank you. Days later. Anyways, the point of all that I'm telling you this, Matt, is because when he comes back, his story isn't that he was like taken and probed in his asshole and like like everybody says. He says he got hit by accident with that beam. And when it happened, he believes, this is what he believes anyways, that they were trying to save his life. That's why they took him, because they killed him by accident, and they took him onto the ship to try and save his life. Which is just very different than the normal story you would hear. Again, all I'm saying is I don't think they're all fake. I agree with you, though. I think the majority of them are people who have heard one story and are just
It'd be easy to concoct a good story that seems to
that
could
and
be
it also
possible.
wouldn't surprise me if some of these are
Copycats.
no the
Are legitimate.
the government doing some sort of weird acid psyop. And I'm not being facetious
No.
here. Like,
I get it.
I really believe that that's something they were doing. And I'm really beginning to question if Barney and Betty Hill is not exactly that. Because when you look at that case, to me, it was always like, I don't know if you know a lot about it, but she especially is able to draw out like maps from her memory and stuff. But let's say it was like some giant psyop done by the government and they have them, in a state where they can implant memories into their heads, right? Like if they're give them some sort of drug and then they're doing CIA stuff on them, how hard would it be to like put that map in her mind? So then when you put her back onto the street,
CIA stuff.
Not
whatever
hard at
they
all.
do behind the scenes. So I think there's a real mixed bag of what's going on. And that's why, listen, that's
You
probably,
know what that is though? That is your Crop circles.
Right, exactly. But it's probably a really mixed bag right across the board. Like there's so much chaff to get through that it makes it hard to ever find the truth. But I would imagine that, you gotta, there's a lot to get through but there are real cases out there. You just gotta have a
interest in it.
Well,
Carried.
but again, Joe, like being the closed-minded
You
individual
are the
that
problem.
he is, just like it's impossible that it's interdimensional. That's where I draw the line.
You lost me there.
Interdimensional.
That's the only thing I do believe in.
And I realized, oh shit, all these pictures of Earth from space, they're all CGI composites, and NASA admits it.
I mean, that sums it up.
I mean, we've definitely space is real.
Simon,
There's
look,
no
you're all
doubt
hunched
about
over. You could sit up and just move the mic up. That's a possibility,
There's
right?
no,
Or just leave it there.
There's
That's
no
fine, too.
doubt about that. Space is real. But I'm beginning to feel a lot like Kamar, and there is some hinky shit to that first space flight.
Oh, no, you don't.
Yeah,
You don't. Because
do.
no, you don't. You don't get to do that. You can flip flop about every single thing.
Kamar, mocha. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
You will
mocha.
die
that what
on
mocha
that
stands
hill.
for?
Mocha,
Unbelievable.
mocha.
Well, you're not welcome. You're not welcome on my side.
I don't want to be on your side because
What?
your side is
Don't-
stupid because you had no arguments. I'm going on the
Put some
side
respect on my name.
zero respect.
That you're
on
saying
your
you're
name.
what you're starting to agree side with Kamar. Like, what are we saying here?
I worded that wrong.
That's what I'm. Here
I'm
to tell you.
formulating a whole new side that Kamar maybe is like
Has similarities,
bordering.
but it's totally
on-
unrelated.
yes,
Perfect.
Thank you.
I
There
accept
you
that.
go.
I accept that.
Yeah. Trust me, I don't want to be on your team
You're-
if that's what you mean.
You had your chance, but you debated off my team.
You,
You made me look like-
yourself
You
off
debated
my team.
yourself off.
You
your
made me
team,
look like a
fuck.
fool.
I certainly did not. You made yourself look like a fool.
Actually,
I hardly won
I
that
take
debate
the majority
at all.
of the credit.
Can I
Join
actually
the
say
Patreon
this?
to see my lowest point.
I think you both made us look like fools, all of us. So there we go. How do you like them apples?
That's not true.
All right, are we done with the fucking WHG Wells
Let
here?
me just see what else I have here, Matt.
It's 3 pages of alien dicks. So
Yeah, I don't like it when there's less pages about the rest of the podcast to that one, and it was a half-hour part.
And then Joe said, just speaking of Joe's closed-mindedness, he said that all Bigfoot sightings have to do with mental illness.
We'll leave it at that because we can pick this up. We can actually pick this back up in the last podcast. You can double back to this.
Okay.
But Simon, here's my question is you have not seen Bigfoot. You just believe in him. So you actually, technically, you have no problem with the statement, technically speaking.
And to keep it related to this
'Cause
podcast,
he never said that you have a mental disorder. He didn't say that,
Yes, right. Yeah.
right?
That's true.
Because you haven't claimed to have seen
Until
Bigfoot
I
ever.
see it, yeah,
You
right.
you in your heart believe that Bigfoot exists.
I thought
So-
you were saying Bigfoot has a mental problem and he's a narcissist.
Well, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, no, then he'd want to be seen a lot.
Yeah, which is, he's trying, Simon.
He wouldn't tolerate for all these blurry photos.
Yeah, but it's his cloaking skin that is not. That's the problem with his narcissism.
My best guess is either interdimensional or extinct. And you got to be able to buy extinct mocha.
Oh, he has to buy it all. That's kind of the
whole-
slogan of Mocha.
The whole kit and caboodle.
Oh, I'm certainly willing to say that Bigfoot is not real. Like, I mean, as a possibility, it could be real. It could not be real.
I know you have to live in that world.
I'll leave that up to history
gods.
to decide.
To history. Well, to history then.
The Graham Hancock.
I don't know what he believes. I heard an interesting. Do you guys know what Paranthropus is?
I
Type
don't
of
believe
radio.
I do. No.
No, it's a species of like hominid type.
Keep going.
Neanderthal man, like another Florensis, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
And people are making a argument that that's what Bigfoot actually is. That's the line it came from. And here's another.
So, but hasn't existed for a long time.
No, for a long time. But here's another interesting argument that I heard the other day. What if it was, we always assume, this is way out there, but just hear me out here.
I'm right here with you.
No.
We always assume that like man starts in Africa and makes his way to wherever the fuck
Coffee
he
came from
ends up
Ethiopia.
going,
What
right?
to talk about?
In all different ways. I mean, whatever. We get to where we're going. What if man started right here in North America as
What are you, a Mormon?
some sort of like Bigfoot type creature, and then everything came from that?
What if?
Simon starting his own Graham Hancock, like, well, do you have any evidence for this, or is this just
zero,
pure? Oh, okay.
zero evidence that I don't even I don't think this is my
Imagine the
idea.
world gets so fucked up. Graham Hancock is on Joe Rogan and like references Simon Anisman has been putting out
Actually,
information.
there's been great work out of Canada from a man named Simon Anisman who's doing great work.
No, he would hate me. Yeah,
Who knows, man? Who knows?
He would hate
that
me
would
for
be the best.
And then just, yeah, you know what? Okay, I'll talk about this in the post show because I know it'll aggravate you.
Any episode it aggravates.
How aggravated do I get on this show? Like, look, he only has one note left, and he's like, how do I stretch this into 20 to 25
No, this is my
minutes?
last question to you guys. So, remember when Reagan made that speech? Joe plays it all the time. It turns out it was to the United Nations. I didn't know that.
About space aliens.
About how it would take one cause to bring us all together, and
Or
that
so he
cause
thought.
could be something not of this world.
Yeah.
Do you think that was like them getting ready to tell us something back then?
No,
and
I believe.
then they got cold feet for whatever reason, and that was going to be disclosure?
No, I believe it was the opposite. I believe they were like, we can siphon a fucking shitload of money out of the country and out of the taxpayers if we create some sort of fear that we need like a Star Wars system where we can fight off someone. And then again, Congress approves $1 trillion thing, and half of that $1 trillion goes into the pockets of a bunch of
Well,
politicians.
it was combined with stopping intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Yeah, ICBMs and stuff, yeah.
Thing. I hope there was some. Maybe there's aliens. Got to think about it. And was it a total cash grab?
It just seems
Because, like,
more.
E.T. was a big movie at the time. Like,
But that's what I'm saying.
It's like-
Does it not seem like they were just playing at the heartstrings of?
I think it's that. I just hope there was some general.
You know how they get
hope.
a nation ready for some sort of disclosure would be to start with the movies and stuff, right? And get people acclimated. Like that was why Werner von Braun was working with Disney. They were making that movie about space travel before we ever went to space to get people acclimated to the idea of being in ships and flying to Mars.
To your question, to your statement, and we'll get into it in the next podcast we're about to move on to. Why was there a period when there's all Vietnam movies? You remember that? There was Platoon. There was Full Metal Jacket. There was Hamburger Hill. There was Born on the 4th of July. Like, what were they preparing us for then? The veterans from the Iraq War that was coming down the pipe to, you know what I mean? If what you said is true, or do they go through periods where they put out movies that they want to influence people, and then for months they put out
Or
movies that have nothing
maybe
to do
it's
with
as
anything?
simple as like a guy like Kubrick has a reason why he puts out a Vietnam movie, probably because he wants to tell people about the atrocities of Vietnam, and then everybody else sees that it does really well and try and make a
Studio-wise.
cash grab off it, you know? So then all of a sudden, boom, there's a Platoon, there's a this, there's a that.
I was more trying to agree with you that the CIA would, or whoever, would try to influence or prepare people for something. And what was all those, if that was the case, what could we think all those movies were put out for? Especially because of the next podcast we're about to talk to, which I thought was really crazy when we get there.
Please rate this fucking thing.
I give this podcast a 4.
Super interesting. I just honestly got some sort of problem or felt away when Joe just, I felt he wasn't taking it seriously. It was a 3.5. Like it
You
bothered
just
me.
felt for the narcissism thing.
Could have been a 4. Could have been a 4.
I think it was a 4. I like these. Again, I like the ones where I have no idea who the guest is. Interesting talk. I liked him too. Like I like that he was like, I don't know, I could be wrong. Google it. Like I like that sort of stuff.
I think I loved him till the spaceship talk.
Oh, that was the best though. This just when I thought I was like really stoked on this episode, and then he just
but it only got a 4.
he put icing on the cake. Well, because I mean, it was what it was. You know, it wasn't.
Well, so that means you thought it was like a
It
3.5,
wasn't
and then he
Graham
pulled out his alien.
It was like a
tattoo
3.75, and then he threw some alien jizz on there.
The whole jujitsu part was interrupting the actual conversation about narcissism, and then he did that shit about the aliens.
Narcissism.
3.5.
Okay, we're gonna take a break now.
I think so. The next
We're gonna
two-
breeze
Yeah, we're
through
an
the
hour
next
15
one,
in, yeah.
So I think we're good. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We might pay a bill. You might just get us back right away. Who knows? Either way, we'll be back. And we're back.
And we're back. Evan Hafer and Matt Best. Does
I
that
called him
sound
Hafer,
right?
but-
Hafer. Black Rifle Coffee.
I want to say I came into this super bias because of listening to Brendan Schaub do Black Rifle Coffee reads because they were big sponsors of the podcast. It just
Rubbed you the wrong way.
rubbed me the wrong way, and I was pleasantly surprised that I really like these guys. It's just the first half of this episode because I said last week some sort of nutritionist or health
Well, thanks for that.
person as a call. Sort of was super coffee geek, and then the diet stuff, I almost turned it off. I'm not gonna lie to you, but then they got into the mistreatment of veterans and stuff, and like I said, a Tale 2 podcast.
I truly believe that this is an episode that would never have happened in California. It wouldn't have made the California cut.
Yeah, with no COVID.
I don't understand.
What Simon's saying is like he would have had a roster of people more, no disrespect to these guys, maybe more interesting.
These guys are from Texas.
Oh, locality.
That's why we
Proximity.
got Black Rifle Coffee. Listen, he's known. They've been on before a long time ago, and it makes sense that they would have been on, and then that would have been it, right? Because they did really well for themselves. These guys are a huge success story. Like all the props to them.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I just think he was filling time in Texas, filling slots in Texas.
And I don't think he had any idea it would go down the road it went.
That sounds weird, eh? Filling slots in Texas.
Well, filling sluts in Texas,
Well,
definitely.
just if you mumble it, you know. Joe was filling slots in Texas.
I mean, yeah, filling slots in Texas,
Yeah,
definitely.
he's filling slots in Texas.
Whatever.
I agree. It's weird.
Here's my question. This is actually not a question. This is here's my theory. Here's what I think is going to happen. And I'm probably wrong. I think the Comedy Store is going to fall on such hard times that it's going to rely on all the biggest people that have ever come out of there to save it, i.e. Joe. I think Joe is so personally invested in the Comedy Store that he has so much money that I think he will bail them out and become a partner. I think he'll let them keep the LA location and he will open a Texas comedy store.
Store. South by
Texas.
Southwest.
That's great. I like that idea, Matt.
So I think then Joe will become, so again, he'll be a part of the thing that he reveres in comedy.
If
He'll-
I could, sorry, go
No,
on.
go ahead.
If I could work off your idea if I could riff off that for a second,
Riff
as
away.
they say in the biz, put your cans on, get ready. Joe does that. He buys the Comedy Store and he airlifts it to Texas with his fuck you money.
No, but I actually think, because again, I think
Too far.
I think
Because what's the point of having fuck you money if you're not going to helicopter buildings from one
No,
state
you
to
don't-
another?
Just like you watched the documentary you're talking about, you don't take the Comedy Store.
Come on,
out of
I am
LA.
being facetious, but I like Matt's suggestion a lot that he buys in, he saves the LA one, he gets the right to the names or to the name rather, and he opens up.
I mean, not even the right. Like he'll have a great working relationship. I'm not saying he's going to hold them over the coals or anything. I'm saying he's going to go in and say, listen, I will give you guys the money to keep the LA one afloat, and I'm going to open one here to continue the tradition of.
But to your point, it wouldn't have to just be Joe Rogan. You could have Tom Segura.
That's what I'm
Whitney
saying.
Cummings.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of big money there.
This is the thing is, I think a lot of them. I'm not going to say 100%. A lot. I guarantee you, 50% of them are like, I would have come up at any comedy place. Fuck it, I don't care. But I think a good portion of them will say, had it not been for this place and this time and these people, I wouldn't be where I am, and I'm willing to give back. But I think Joe, given his monetary status, might just swoop in and say, I'll just.
I mean, Tom Segura is rich,
Yeah.
But he didn't just sign a deal for like $3 billion a year for 7.5 years.
going up.
You know what I'm saying? Like Joe is in a totally different fucking.
So that was it. Is
system.
I thought to myself as I was like, I mean, maybe you never know. Maybe Joe is just the type of person who's like, I just want to do my own thing. Maybe he'll bail them out quietly on his own.
And he shouldn't want to not have like this monopoly on comedy as a comic. It's like, it's heart in the right place, but.
I'm not saying a monopoly on comedy. I'm saying it. I'm not saying this in a negative at all. I'm just saying it as like
Joe just becomes like the self-appointed king of comedy.
Well, then that's what it looks like. I mean, most.
When you have that kind of money.
I'm more thinking like, yeah, I don't know why there aren't more
I was being facetious.
famous comedians that own comedy clubs.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Already.
I don't think
Because
he's
it's not a moneymaker.
I don't think he's trying to be a gatekeeper of comedy. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying I think, again, given his age and his monetary status, it would make a lot of sense for him to reinvest in the things that got him to where he is. He talks about getting young comics on all the time. This is like the perfect.
And this just kind of came to me right now. So Joe is going to become Mitzi and Johnny Carson rolled up into one, meaning he's going to be the gateway for the comedians to come to him. It's a very weird dynamic.
I'm surprised because I actually thought this conversation would come up in the next podcast.
Sorry, it's kind of bleeding through, I guess. Yeah. Well, that. I don't care about this podcast, so I'm kind of.
Oh no! Let's get through.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
let's get-
Sorry. My apologies.
let me-
I was wondering, like, where's this guy? Oh,
Let
'cause
me
they
hit
talk
the-
about it in the next episode.
Well, no, and then it was because he was talking about the
Proximity,
Texas.
Texas
Yeah.
thing.
So I just then my mind started going to what I cared about. Sorry.
Let's hit the high notes here.
Hit it away.
Zebra donkeys. That's cool.
but they can't reproduce.
Well, that's fine, but just these donkeys that are zebras, Z-donks.
Yeah, I was just going to say his note, it says Z-donks.
Because I was trying to figure out what was going to be a good name for it. But then I wrote one, and then I thought, you know what? I'm going to open that up to the board.
This is how we end up with Smeo and you trying to figure shit out because you couldn't write bruh and key. Z-donk.
Because that was my name for them, Z-donks.
Gotcha. My
Like
apologies.
Z-donks.
Yeah.
Zebra donkeys.
Yeah.
Do you have a better name?
Nope, that one works for me.
Donkbra.
Actually, never mind. Donkbra is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Kamar's not impressed.
I honestly thought we were going to talk about how the American government is fucking over
Yeah,
their
that
veterans.
was
We'll get there.
Spending their money.
That was my next point, Kamar. But if you want to take the notes for all the shows, I'm happy to let you do that.
The power struggle.
I'm just surprised we've talked this long and we didn't get there. That's all. I didn't mean anything by
They
it.
didn't talk about the veterans until the second half of the show, right?
But
Hold on. Let's.
before that, they talked about diet.
Yeah, they
And
talked about hunting.
Sugar and
Hold on.
And
sugar and
Zedonks.
hunting.
They talked about hunting.
The donks.
and
I
diet.
guess.
Like
I guess that was.
We just started. I've only gotten through 2 notes, and you haven't even given me a chance to get to the third, which is fucking
What's after Z-donks? Let me.
not taking care of the veterans is the most despicable form of. And then I couldn't remember the word, and I was gonna fill it in after, but I didn't. But to me, it's like not taking care of your country if they're sick, right? Like you have one responsibility as a government, it's to take care of your own people. But even more than that, you have to take care of the people that take care of your people.
100%. And it's a travesty. And when they were talking about how, and you know it happened because you've seen it, you know, they need 20 skids of $8 billion just gets dropped off in a warehouse and like spend this money to get more. Like the mismanage the money is apparent as well. That they shouldn't be, if they could put a moratorium that they can't fight until they've sorted out every veteran up to this point and then start again or whatever. It's crazy.
What's really crazy though is it's like we're gonna go in and help this fucking country. We're gonna bring democracy in. What else are you gonna do? Well, we're gonna bring in a bunch of trash and burn it in holes indefinitely. Like, wait, hold on.
and ruin
how much
the
you helping
lives
this-
of young men
That's what I'm
from
saying.
our country.
Well, yeah,
Like,
it's like how much you helping anyone here, really.
But even more than that, yeah, that's ridiculous. It's so gross. But even more than that, it's like, look at the budget of the military. It's trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. But you're telling me that on the back end, you can't take care of the people? Like, that is fucked, man. We know you have the money. It's right there. It's being taken from more deserving places to go to the military. And you can't even take care of the fucking guys. Like once you've sent them over there to die and they happen to live and you're just like, oh, well, now you're on your own, buddy.
But they've got to figure out a way how to scam the money to help the veterans or whatever. You know what I mean? Like instead of building new bombs and buying new guns and new tanks, like somehow make an industry helping their own veterans.
Why is this not like a
Well, it should
fucking
just be
huge deal?
Well, it should just be interwoven in the budget.
Yeah.
It should be like 25% of this military
100%.
budget is for the veterans.
This is what I'm saying on the back end, right? So if you have $1 trillion, my math is bad, but you take $1 billion and you fucking back end it
That's
for
really bad math.
whatever. You see what I'm saying though? You allot
Yeah, you
it,
take
whatever it is,
250 billion.
10%, and
It doesn't make sense that
Right,
it's an issue.
yeah.
It should be the first
even $1 billion
non-issue.
would be enough. Matt.
If America wants to go fight all these wars and do all this stuff, they have to do it on the contingents that they're taking care of their veterans who they're putting through this thing, exposing to the fucking.
Well, it's not only that. It's the actual grossest part is that the recruitment is all about like, we're going to help you. Like you're going to come on and we're going to give you an
university.
education. We're going to give you this. We're going to treat you, you're going to become a better person from it. There's a 50% chance you might get some cancer that'll kill you. You know what I mean? Like it's not even in the fine print. It's never mentioned. Like, and it's all young, poor people. Like, let's all be serious.
And imagine, to your point, like you sign up for the military to go to far off places and kill people or whatever your reason is to go into the military, and you get there and you're shoveling fucking flaming garbage all day. Like,
Yeah, no,
that's hardly what you signed up for, you know?
There's a lot of that though. Hurry up and wait is a common saying in the army. When it's at battles and stuff, it's intense, but there's a lot of
no, of course,
nothing in between, shoveling shit or whatnot.
Did you notice how just eloquently he slipped in that he worked for the CIA for 8 years?
I didn't notice that. No.
As opposed to Brashley? Or?
Just coming out and telling us at the beginning of the episode, this is what I did. I worked for the enemy for 8 years, but I'm not Mike Baker. I'm done.
I didn't notice.
I'm so angry.
I thought there was no levity in this podcast whatsoever.
Yep.
And it just.
Well, hold on. Once you get onto the veteran affairs stuff, there's very little levity to be had.
No, and it isn't, but it has to be said. And these are special forces guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're saying you don't need these big armies. You need small contingents of forces, but they're complaining, and like they love what they do and stuff, but it was just harsh.
The interesting argument I thought was when they were talking about how all of a sudden the military is getting politically correct. And you can't do that. You can't, on one hand, ask these people to go and shoot people in the face, and then on the other hand, expect that they're going to, there's not going to be locker room talk, Like that's, you're asking them to be killers. You take what you get with the killing,
But they want to eventually make killers that are politically correct.
Well, no, it's not politically correct, though. It's like, if I train this guy to be a killer as well, but he's gay, we need you to treat him like the rest of you killers. You can't have him singled out.
No, I think more they were saying,
It was gender.
Yes. I think they were saying, though, you can't have, like, if we're out there risking our lives, we can't be worried about.
And I misgender you, and you stand up and stop fighting.
An adjective or whatever, them, they, zim, whatever. That just can't be part of the army. You can be those things. It just can't be demanded of you to force.
Believe me,
those
that
other
shit
people.
ain't part of the army.
Oh, I'm sure it's.
I would argue though that their intention is to create a world where everyone is just correct. The killers, the rapists, everyone's bad.
I just don't think it works like that.
No, I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, fellas, that I had.
Wow. Well, you can tell this one's getting a fucking high rating from us.
It's not that it's not getting a high rating or a low rating. It was just an intense podcast. I don't think they knew it would go there. I think they.
That's what I was saying
to
to
that.
That's what I was saying to Matt. I don't think they thought it was going to happen at all.
And I'm glad it did. But just for listening to the middle of the afternoon while painting a house, it was real bring me down.
The thing is, like, how are they not taken care of? You know what I mean? You'd think even at least one side, like, let's look at the Republicans, because you'd assume that would be the side, right?
Well, I think they said that Trump has been doing the best for the veterans in a while.
They don't have health care, Maddie.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
So of course I agree. I'm like, how is this not happening? But then I'm like, well, they're not even taking care of their people on the most basic level.
My YouTube has been inundated lately of videos of that fucking retard Steven Crowder going on about how like U.S. healthcare is absolutely the best. Canadian healthcare is garbage. And I'm like,
Well, the argument for that is always people pay to go to the U.S. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't they just stay here? But it's more like their system sounded like our system. You know, the guy had to wait 6 months for a blood transfusion or whatever. Like there was something in place, but it was very...
either way, Steven Crowder like brought up an example. He's like, I knew someone that went to get a broken leg looked at. They waited 6 hours. They got looked at. Then they waited another 4 hours. And then finally they just left and drove to the States to get care. And I was like, well, that's a weird anecdotal story, first of all, because they could have gotten their leg fixed if they had waited another hour or two, like, and it would have been free.
But we've debated there should be 2-tier.
Well, yeah,
in Canada.
and that's my argument because that's happening right now with COVID tests. I don't know if you read that, Kamar, but they're opening up like private clinics where you can go and get tested for COVID. You pay $250 or whatever, and you get your COVID test the next day.
Now that's where the money is.
Or that day, whatever the case is. And people are like, the same way, you know,
The convenience.
in Quebec, you can go and you can pay for an MRI. And if you want to pay for it, it costs a lot. But if you want to do that, that option is there for you. The idea that you'd be outraged and be like, no, you can't have that because then it's not equal for everybody. That's not what this is all about. It's not about equality. That's not what universal health care is about. It's about making sure that everybody's taken care of.
But their concern would be the level of service.
Well, that's what I was about to
Want
say.
everyone to have the-
They're looking at it wrong.
Simon, I agree with you 100%.
But hold on, how are you?
All I was going to say, Matt, is look, if I'm paying to go get a COVID test, let's say, that's then loosening up the lines at the normal COVID test so everybody else gets better service.
Yep.
No, but you're missing the point. I
agree with you 100%.
That point is a valid one, but you're missing the real point is that like eventually every doctor will be like, why wouldn't I just have a private practice for the second tier when they're paying me the most? I'm not making any money.
Well, it just means that maybe they have to pay the doctors more, right?
Or it'd be something like lawyers with pro bono.
Yeah, but so that okay. Well, then the healthcare system is all out of whack. That's the problem.
Is that feasible?
Well, it is, and it would come down to like they would have to get way better deals with the drug companies. Which again, I know Trump's full of shit, but that is one way to solve this, right? Is to take it those ridiculous prices. Even us, like. Just as an example, I get a prescription filled. Depending on what prescription it is, even though I have insurance, it can still cost me a bunch of money because the drug is so expensive in the first place and they're only covering 80% of it or whatever. So if that drug is enough, that 20% is still a huge hit.
Yeah, but I don't think we can complain about like, oh my God, I have to pay for 20% of my
A lower drug prices would ease.
But
the
this is
hardship.
this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just the argument is
I
coming from me that
the Diablo avocado
service
I
could be
understand.
compromised. And I think we could have doctors have to tag back from tiers.
Hold on. Let me also say
There's
this.
ways to do it.
Let me also say this. There's no fucking, what we're talking about is actually, for the most part, nothing life threatening. We're talking about just like MRIs and checkups and shit like that. Like, if you are in the States and you get in a bad car accident, whether it doesn't matter what fucking tier, it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's no argument there.
If you don't have insurance.
Even if you have insurance, it's
Just
going to
the
cost you. The
insurance
deductible
pays
will
for
cost
it.
you and your deductible goes up, and then they might not insure you
But
past that.
it's like the 40 million Americans don't have insurance.
Which is
that's the problem that they
it's-
have to be covered.
My point is just like whether you want the two tiers or not, that's fine. We can have that argument. But the point is, in this country, if you are in it now, keep in mind in the States they have to give you service. They can't turn you away, but they're going to give you a massive bill for it, which is insane.
Like it's crazy when you hear about people who are like seriously hurt and they're like, no, don't call the ambulance.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I'm not
there.
going to the hospital.
I'm going to drive myself
Like when we were
with
in-
a fucking pole through my abdomen because I don't want to pay $10,000.
I remember we were like 17 and we drove down to North Carolina and we're just jumping off this like balcony, 15 feet, but into like a sort of slanted sand dune and flipping. And just like, it was a perfect place to do stupid
who hurt
stunts.
themselves?
Nobody. But these Americans came up to us and were like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, you're just chilling out. And they're like, but what if you break your ankle? What if you hurt? You know what I mean? We had no idea we were in that young, stupid consequence-free age doing stupid
I
jumps and
wonder, does
flips.
it make people be safer because they don't have the
No.
insurance? No,
I
not
think
at all,
so. I
right?
think so. Of course.
Well,
Oh no, I mean, again, anecdotally, I have at least 15 stories that go totally against.
And
what you're saying.
again, I mean, I don't think you have to look anecdotally. I think we can look at the amount of accidents versus the amount of people, and we can see, you know. Let's just pick a really ridiculous thing, like how many people, I don't know,
just look at drunk driving stats. That's all.
jump
you need.
off a balcony every year.
No, but again,
Into a pool? More in Canada per ratio than
Hold
No,
on.
what? You're crazy.
let's stop. Like, think about again, just like what did I just say? Drunk driving. Like, I bet if you did per capita drunk driving, there's far more in the States, and they have a higher drinking age than we do.
Yeah, drunk driving is a weird one because I think a lot of it depends on like where you're from.
Either way, my point though is, like, if we're arguing that they're a safer people because they don't have health insurance, is crazy.
Oh no, I wasn't arguing that. I was just postulating that as if that could possibly
No,
be true.
you have to look at jumping off high things onto lower
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
That's sort of stupid and risky.
You have to
per
look at like
capita.
jackass type.
Yeah,
I would still argue there's way more Americans
me
like
too.
that.
That's
No, we're
what
not
I'm
gonna
saying.
we're not gonna get to the bottom of it.
No, we're not.
There's
Even then,
a
I could argue there's
massive
probably
bill.
more Australians than anyone.
This was disheartening to hear these two
Yeah,
soldiers.
those bogans are fucking
And
crazy.
thank God I heard this podcast because I don't care about the bias that Brendan Schaub had built with his Black Rifle coffee ads. I'm back on the Black Rifle train.
Do you drink Black Rifle coffee?
Hell no.
Kumar?
Do you drink coffee? You don't drink coffee.
I
do you?
drink coffee.
At work?
I'm not going to give a plug.
No, I don't want you to give a plug. But you drink like a coffee a day at
Every
work?
morning.
Okay.
Nice coffee.
But you're not a 4 coffee a day guy. You're just 1 in the morning to kind of give you.
I
A
had
pep.
2 the other day and was flying.
But that's what I'm saying. You're not a real coffee junkie. You just need 1 in the morning to maybe give you a little pep in your step. Fair enough.
What I've heard is it doesn't even give you the pep and stuff. It's actually a withdrawal that you have from always having caffeine. So you
Interesting.
feel
So you're just back
down
to
because you're
normal.
not having caffeine in the caffeine.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And at one point in this episode, they were like, yeah, we just had the debates last night, 2.5 weeks late.
Yeah.
I really don't like that. Again, I don't want to harp on it, but I hope that works itself out.
Well, so this is the interesting thing with that knockout last night in the UFC. I'm like, are we going to hear about this on the podcast like in November? Are we going to, what?
What about Paul Costa and Israel? Adesanya?
Holy fuck. We
Holy
haven't heard a fucking word about that.
Dude, that's fucking crazy.
Wow. Good call, Kumar.
It's probably come up this week.
Good call,
So
Kumar.
he's like 2 weeks behind.
Wow.
The Matrix. It's getting bad. Oh, it is what it is, and I think we're going through an adjustment period. I think the biggest thing next to happen will be the full transfer over.
In December. What are you up to over there? This diva. You're not even in the shot. Like, you're barely in the shot. You're fucking here. Yeah. Scooch over there.
Pardon us
sweet
with the
hit.
new studio.
Be part of this.
It really has that local cable access
Oh my God. This looks
feel
like
to it.
1990s
I
Tom
sort of feel
Green.
like Wayne's World-ish.
Wayne's
Sort of,
World.
so that's
Wayne's
kind of cool,
World.
man. Excellent.
Party time.
For any listener or viewer, especially viewers, I fucking hate the setup. I hate the camera. I hate the shot.
Hates
I hate the
himself.
lighting. I definitely hate myself for all of it. I'm working on it. Just let's say give it until Joe fully moves to Spotify.
I like it. I like it.
Once our check drops, she'll change around here. What's wrong, Simon?
Nothing.
You're just writing Smeo over and over again?
Yeah. Smeo.
So is that it for these guys then?
That's it.
That's it for Black Rifle?
That's it.
All right. I feel bad we didn't give them their... I feel bad that a lot of these veterans come on. They talk about hunting. They're good people. They're good, just fucking salt of the earth, and we don't really give them their dues. And I'm very sorry for that.
I feel bad for the zebra donkey. We didn't.
Yeah, the Zedonks.
The
The breath.
donks,
There's
yeah.
a donk.
I mean, listen, I think we harped on the same things but like they pretty much talked about one subject for 2/3 of this podcast. So unless we're gonna do the same,
And the beginning was diet and sugar and just redundancies.
Yeah.
Here's the weird thing. Just in closing, I just want to, like, who in the States is against helping the veterans? Do you know what I mean? Because normally things that are like, things that have a high rate of like,
No, what CNN and MSBC, I don't even know, Fox is covering the story. Like, How else are people supposed
You're
to know
right.
the veterans are being neglected? Or
But hold on, but I disagree because
why is the news? Because they want war and they don't want people to know the price of war.
I will say this: The Daily Show used to do shit on that all the time. When Jon Stewart was there.
He's about that stuff. He's about the first responders, 9/11. Like, why is it not getting more coverage in the mainstream press?
It's true. Well, I mean, I think we know the answer.
Winds of change.
Can we rate this one then?
You're blaming it on the CIA?
I blame nothing.
I actually blame everything on you now.
On me?
Yeah.
How am I responsible for what?
I don't know
goes
if you
on in
noticed
the
too. Someone
States?
wrote a YouTube comment. The fly on Mike Pence's head was a CIA op called Simon Says.
That's funny.
That fly brought me right back to my original position. Because all the people, all the memes, like he's talking about, if Trump were to die or whatever, then this guy is against abortion 100%, not like a moderate. You know what I mean?
Oh no, he's like if your dad rapes you, you're having that kid.
The vice presidential debate
Vice Pence.
is bullshit or whatever, but it was way more moderate and leveled if you watch any of it. Like it was sort of like what a debate would be. She's horrible, I think, and we actually know from podcasts in the past her record in the criminal system and the things she's done.
I think they're both
They're
terrible
hypocritical.
people. I think they're both god awful.
So for that fly, like people aren't listening to issues; they're just with their feelings. Like I hate that side, the fly, whatever. Like so, but it was refreshing that debates can still happen.
I love that Kamara considers himself a serious political pundit, and he's like, the fly. Yeah, it brought me back to my initial position. So, like,
No,
what are you doing here?
No, but they should be memes about things he said, like policies, whatever. Like it's just like it's all just to have a hot take.
But Kamar,
with no
Kamar, let me stop you right there. You
actual
don't,
deal with the issues.
you don't care about policies. You don't like Trump for his policies. You couldn't name 10 of them.
The one I have always said was he said he wanted to stop fighting these wars and said people should pay for them. He said that, whatever. It's way worse here in Canada, what they'll say they do and then they don't end up doing. But he said that and was like the first politician to actually say that. And even though he's a piece of shit, believe him. Whereas Obama said he was going to do that and did the complete opposite. And it's exactly what we're talking about in this podcast. Because the more they deploy, the more they're going to have veterans in need who are being neglected. So that's why.
That I agree with.
And I don't think Trump's a good person. And I can't defend him like as a.
I wasn't asking you to.
But it's like I have a theory that a lot of successful people are shitty. Like a percentage more than the nice guys. Even though everyone says you got to be nice to be successful, it depends where you work. But there's a lot of bad people who are successful.
But that even makes it worse. Sorry, just back to something you said earlier. The fact that the military industrial complex is making so much fucking money off of war, and then they're making up wars to fight in order to make money, and then not taking care of their people on the back end
That they made.
They're only there because they're fighting wars to make money. Like it's really a fucking really sick.
Well, not really. If you're really there just to make money, then why would you take care of the people on the back end? That's a huge chunk of your money.
I hope this ruffles waves. This
Well,
podcast.
I mean, the same way you take care of your employees because you want them to do a good job, I guess.
Yeah, but we've shown that these massive corporations don't do that. They're not out there like trying to take care of their employees.
I mean, some do. Some corporations, even though they want to make money, they still treat their people okay.
well, let's back up
Or
a sec.
good.
So you could look at Apple
Like,
and be
look
like,
at Shopify. That's a perfect example.
okay, maybe, but
That's a huge company, and they treat their people really well. They made a lot of money, and they like gave some of that money back to their peeps.
So can I give you an example? Mary worked at Shopify for 3 months. Every day I came home, bawling her eyes out. Half the rate of people that quit Shopify is staggering. So the people that are there and happy are happy. I agree with you. That's not the office life they have is like it's super fucking flamboyant and like they get all sorts of shit. But I don't think it's everything. And then
I've heard there's a lot of turnover there, and you think these places are roses, but you go in thinking one thing and then you work in another place. And
well, and like Simon, just look at Mary. Like you would think Mary could probably get along at any. Like I was blown away. I told her to get the job. I was like, you'll be perfect for this.
But she wasn't working she was working from home, wasn't she?
They have half their employees work from home. So I'm just saying if half the employees that are in the office are loving it, but the other half are at home wanting to blow their brains out, it's kind of a weird. And that's what I was going to say is like Apple, you could look at Apple employees and be like, they must be happy. But
But
then you're like, but what about the ones in China? And you're like, oh,
I'll tell you, I worked a couple of Shopify parties, like 600,000 people because they're just across the street.
600,000 people.
No, 3,000 people.
Gotcha. Yeah. At the headquarters.
In a range of events.
Yeah.
But they would come over and do it at the Shaw Center. And the catering, the decor, the lighting blew most events away for what they would do for a staff party or a function.
And that was even before, because that was when they were downtown. That was before they even moved to their new
they
headquarters.
just moved from Elgin.
But they're still on Elgin.
Oh, that was on Okay, gotcha. Sorry.
They were downtown.
They were downtown.
You know,
Yeah,
like in
sorry.
a loft,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
super cool. And then they moved. But
Come on, my friend Chico works in the kitchen there.
At-
40,000 a week on sushi.
at Spotify.
Yes. Shopify.
All I was stating is the production they put into staff parties versus
Yeah, of course.
big construction companies like spend money, but it's just another level. And I could only imagine what a Google event would be like, or like you have Paul McCartney singing over there, or whatever, or Bill Burr performs.
I don't remember how we got here.
We were
we were
about to
talking
rate it.
about, well, no, we were talking about how
The money.
employees, no, we were talking about employees being happy. We were talking about massive military industrial complex taking care of people on the back end because it's taking care of their employees.
Take care of their people.
And I was just saying that there's more money to be made if you don't take care of the little guy at the bottom and just kind of let him.
But again, if I'll go back to this, if you treat your people really bad, nobody's going to want to work for you. So if they want to keep getting people to go out there and fight these fucking wars, and
That's
risk
why they
their
have the
lives,
lowest. That's why
they're
they have the
gonna
lowest
have
sign
to
up now.
Take care of them on the back end.
The last thing I was thinking is, you know how if Joe says something transphobic or controversial on the podcast, the next day there's 6 articles about it. Why aren't there 6 articles about
About the
veterans
things he
talking
talks about that matters.
Well, just this, if it stood out to us as egregious,
Well, because it's not clickbaity. Well, that's it though. It's if tomorrow it's like Joe Rogan thinks veterans aren't taken care of, people are like, yeah, well, that I could see. But if it's like Joe Rogan thinks trans, I don't know.
Well, they never talk about anything good, Joe Rogan says. They're never coming out and like, Joe Rogan has Bernie Sanders on, he's so progressive. They're like, they always find a way. One side spins it bad, but nobody's ever spinning it good.
Well, no, again, it would be like transphobic Joe Rogan has Bernie on, proving that Bernie doesn't care about
Bernie hates the gays.
they're spinning it how they want it spun.
Yeah. Okay.
we'll rate it.
So we're done.
Simon, start
we
with
haven't
you.
rated it yet.
No, we have not. No.
I'll give this one a 3.
I give it 3.5. Staying with the consistency.
I got to go lower than that. I'm sorry. I'm giving them a 3 because I feel like they're military and they deserve. But no, this podcast was super boring.
The
I
first
give it a
part,
2.
the first part was losing to me. The second part was
I give it a 2.
crazy.
Yes, I also give it a 2. Again, these are great guys and they're fighting for your freedom. Well, now they're fighting for your coffee. I just found this to be a boring podcast. Not my cup of tea. Doesn't mean they're bad people. Doesn't mean you won't enjoy it. It means I didn't enjoy it. Colin Quinn.
1547.
Didn't even take 30 seconds for us to get our answer in this podcast.
About.
I said to you, and by the way, it was DePaulo. That's who I was thinking of. I said to Simon, Colin Quinn's been on before for sure.
Yeah.
And Simon was like, I'm not sure he has. He Googled it, and I still didn't believe him. And in the first 30 seconds, he's like, I had to move to Texas to get you onto the podcast. And I was like, oh, there it is. It was DePaulo. That's who I kept thinking about.
Apollo's been on a bunch of times.
Yes, which is where I was, old veteran, established New York comedian. That's where I was.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Got that out of the way.
I think this is where Kamar takes over, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, fucking right, eh? Because I started doing it and then stopped. I only had one page. Come on.
There you go. Somehow Bigfoot and aliens are on there.
You're flying without a safety net
Hold it
today.
close.
Without a safety net.
Did you just drop 2 feet?
Yeah.
Weird. But then instead of lifting himself up, he lowered his mic. Jesus
all the way
Christ,
down.
Kumar.
I want to start out by saying this was the best lighting
Yep.
so far,
Yeah, the blue with the red.
but it's cold. There are a lot of comments about seems
I mean,
cold.
it is dark and cold, yes.
But the other ones look like Seinfeld when Kramer's living
the
across from Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers.
Joey's just beat red like Shining, and unfortunately, this was really a highlight that, okay, I think they might have the lighting from now on.
It's so funny. Like, I don't give a fuck. I so rarely watch a Joe Rogan. When you guys are talking about like lighting in there and it being, I'm just like,
you can tell me.
Zero difference to me.
But you see, Kumar, this is somewhere where it's like, we talk about, it's like, who cares? And I'm like, but people do. We do. You know what I mean?
I think it was a positive. Like for 2 weeks now watching the red, but realizing maybe it's done in 3 days and stretched over 2 weeks. The podcast we're hearing.
I thought this all would have made a difference, but now that I'm just so convinced that this is just a temporary studio as they build out his real studio, none of this fucking matters.
Oh, Kumar, hold on. Wait, I'm with you. Let me just go. So all the red lighting was pre-hunting trip, recorded in like a 2-week period.
Something like that.
And then he comes back from hunting and they bang the lights out and we get a call in Quinn.
And
so
the first one in the new lighting setup.
Okay.
But it seems like a lighting. You ever seen those lamps that just change?
Yeah, they like lightly
It's
change
one
the
lamp,
whole
but
hue.
the color totally
Yeah.
changes. Like what's happening, and then you find out it's two slides at the bottom that are going to the light. But I feel like it could do that. Like Jamie could just be sitting there in real time, which would be eye fuck. And it all depends. Like you say, Simon, you only listen to it, so it's only an audio experience. It doesn't matter. I think there's something about watching the studio for so long and want him to see it get it better. But when he's just like, looks like a fucking lobster, it's distracting.
And 2 weeks from now, they'll be in his new studio and it'll be an exact duplicate of the old studio and everybody will be happy.
That's what I wonder. That's $1 million question.
Because he's definitely building an archery range. He's doing all of that shit. Like, he'll have the deprivation tank. He'll have it all, just like the old place.
Let's hope he gets it's a real rancho relaxo feel. Like a saloon. He makes a saloon with podcast studio.
Old-timey jiu-jitsu saloon.
Well,
Swing doors.
remember his idea at one point was he wanted to have the campfire talks where he would go outside with somebody at the campfire and they would have a podcast.
The audio would probably be a nightmare, but I would be into that.
No, but that was Joe's idea. He talked about it a lot back in the day.
So Kumar, with his money, he just builds a campfire inside and the audio is perfect.
It
just
makes
hear
it
That's
becoming.
exactly
You
what
just
he
hear the
should do.
gentle crackling of the wood every once in a while.
Just a set.
There you go.
It's like, what did I just find out was a set?
Everything? No, but literally.
Yeah, like the Truman Show. No, but it was something I was like, really? They do that? It'll come to me.
So the line of the show I thought was when he said that the pigeons in New York are homeless because Antifa took all the statues.
Yeah, that was great.
And that's just great classic Colin Quinn.
Yeah.
But then they did get into, like, we're sure it will recover.
Mm-hmm.
But right now it's sort of on the ropes. Did you see Bill Burr opened SNL monologue last night?
Yeah.
What he was telling me.
When he was like, Rick Moranis went out, so much of New York is back,
Yeah,
baby.
that was great. That was funny. And I like when he's like, all right, let me talk to my white bitches here.
No,
That was
the
really
way
funny.
he positions stuff, like,
But
it's shitty that Rick Moranis got punched out, but it's a good thing.
New York's back, baby.
And,
I like
sorry.
how Joe was talking to Colin Quinn and he was saying, oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. Okay, go on, Kamar. I'll come back.
Thank you. No, but he's just talking about the decay of New York. Like it's,
Oh, that was it. Sorry, Ari. Joe was saying, Ari was like, yeah, don't do a 3-hour podcast. Did he say that on this or am I getting confused with the Lex Friedman episode?
I think it's a Lex Friedman episode.
But he does a wicked Ari impersonation. He's like, Joe, trust me, nobody's going to listen to
Is that Joey or Ari?
it's supposed to be Ari.
It's sort of an art.
A 3-hour podcast. There, do it 1 hour. That's it. And then
But he has said, I said that, I'm an idiot. It's all been,
Arya said, well,
Yeah.
he does a 3-hour podcast now,
Exactly,
minimum.
he knows better.
He just did a 7-hour podcast. They had to split it into 2 parts.
That is crazy.
Which is great. If anybody hasn't had a chance to listen to that, the State of the Union with Dave Smith on the Skeptic Tank is really good this year.
It's level-headed, man. But it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's
7 hours is a
It's
lot.
a 4-hour, 4.5, and a 3.5-hour podcast.
Yeah.
I think it's 8 hours in total.
Just a full work day.
Yeah, and it goes by like that.
But it is again still like outweighed COVID. Like because of COVID, look at all the situations in the State of the Union from the COVID perspective. Like it's fucked up enough as it is. It just dominates everything, which I hate. Social events anywhere. I just want to say the record. And then, so to move on, Joe then is like, you should do a Tough Crowd podcast, which is like the no-brainer of show ideas. Like, and he's like, man. Like he's from this old school where you get a show from TV or something.
Yep.
He doesn't understand that he could be bigger on this podcast than he was ever in anything else in his whole career.
I don't think Colin Quinn's a narcissist. Like, he just doesn't think that great of himself, you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, maybe, but...
I actually think he was right, though, when he was like, I don't think it would work now. Unless you had, all like, you would want it to be all those same comedians. I mean, first of all, Patrice is gone, but none of those comedians most likely would do it. Jim probably would, because I don't know that Jim has...
Well, Joe gave Joey Diaz an example that would go on there and open it up. And there are a lot of guys.
I can't wait until somebody takes Joe up when he says, like, move here, I'll give you this. And somebody's just like, yes, I will do that right there on the podcast.
Recorded,
timestamp. I'm moving, Joe. I'm coming tomorrow, you know?
The weirdest thing to me was that Colin Quinn seemed to like want the job as the
I think
like
it was
artistic director.
I think it was like a running gag, you know, they started it at the beginning. And
I don't know.
It's kind of
Did
like...
you? Yeah, Kamar.
In and out, but I just think he's a company guy. He doesn't see just making your own thing.
No. I really saw that. I see what you're saying, Maddie, but I saw that as him like fucking around and just playing it out. You know?
And remember, it's a podcast, so because I think the reason why he thinks it doesn't work is his head be corporate and censored.
It would be even better now on a podcast than it was.
And everything's within reason. Like you could create the whole show. I just don't think he puts it together and believes in himself that much. Which is cute.
Hopefully Joe actually like gets some of these people to do this.
And then they talked about the debates. And it's so interesting because this was the point of contention, which is so crazy. We've talked about it enough times because Trump said to the Proud Boys to stand down and stand by.
Yeah.
And Joe said white supremacy. Like it was a gaffe. He was either not choosing to call it the Proud Boys and just substituted it with white supremacy.
So who did what? Come on.
Joe recounted the stand by, stand down moment.
What Kamar is saying is that Trump in the debate was talking to the Proud, was asked about
the Proud Boys specifically.
Yes,
I think Biden shouted it out.
And he said, stand
down, stand by.
Yeah. Joe on this show said that it was the KKK that Donald Trump said to stand by and stand down.
Stand by.
Sorry,
and that wasn't true. It was definitely the Proud Boys.
It was the Proud Boys.
He was talking to.
Which is the interesting point that we've talked about this. Like it started as a joke.
The Proud Boys.
And now it's on the presidential debate as a side. And they're not racist. I from what I understand, there's all sort of races. They're chauvinist. They're, you know what I mean?
Did you happen to watch All Gas, No Brakes at the Proud Boy thing?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But that was Antifa. They were...
that was the Proud Boys.
Well, they did both. They did both sides at that rally, I guess.
No, he spoke to a few. Those were just reporters that were attacked. They weren't Antifa. That was the whole point.
Well, I definitely saw him interviewing a bunch of people all in black.
Those are all Proud Boys.
I thought the black was the Antifa. I thought the Proud Boys wore the fucking... they had like a different outfit, didn't they?
They wear a Fred Perry.
Yeah.
And the original was the yellow.
Yeah, and the guy in that military thing in all black, there's a little Fred Perry logo on the fucking thing. I'll show it to you after.
Okay.
Anyway, I think Antifa is worse than the Proud Boys. And the corporate media is making the Proud Boys seem like this big thing. And Antifa is an idea, and this is an organized...
I totally agree with you.
Just for optics, and it makes me suspect.
I totally agree with you.
I think it's ridiculous that either you'd say what they're... I think they're both terrible.
I'm not saying either one is better. I'm just thinking Antifa is more of a actual funded movement, and the Proud Boys is just like a boys club, and they're not in the right. Like neither have been the right.
Well, I disagree with you. It's just a boys club.
Antifa's bigger than the Proud Boys. Proud Boys
okay,
are less
fine.
than Antifa.
Fine.
But Proud Boys have been put up bigger than Antifa now.
What's crazy is that this started as a joke.
That's
the
from a
crazy
guy from
part.
Ottawa,
Yeah,
and full
it's-
circle, and
it's
that's all.
really fucking nuts.
That's
when
all it
you
is.
when you
That's
think
all it
about
is. That's all it is. Did
It's-
you hear
it's
Tucker Carlson
crazy.
say Ottawa this week?
No.
He said Ottawa or something like that. Like it was.
How do you?
different
How are
word.
you like a fucking journalist in the United States and you don't even know the capital of
That
Canada?
is
But
the
even then,
question.
hold on. Americans can't say Toronto either.
And besides which,
They
they
always hard
have
pronounce the
Bordeaux
last
and
T.
Bordeaux.
they have Ottawas in the states
Yeah, he's got no
because
excuse.
it's
It's a native word. Yeah, but I mean, none of them are
but
like.
there's Ottawa, California.
There's Ontario, California.
Oh, sorry, my
not
bad.
Ottawa.
no, but there is Ottawas. I'm telling you. But you're right.
Ottawa.
There's a lot of Ontarios.
It's like he said it like it's indigenous enunciation.
Ottawa.
He was trying to be too politically correct. Anyways, then they threw up. Do you guys
Kamar? I'm so sorry.
got to finish up?
No. The Raiders beat the Chiefs.
No way.
Yeah. Well, there goes everyone's
That-
card.
Yeah, that's what I was just.
That was my
Mail that one home.
that was my lock.
There goes everyone's card.
That was my lock.
Yeah. Dude, I'm in a suicide
That's
pool.
how everyone did it, Kamar. They would have said, okay, well, this one's going to be a winner, and I'm going to risk on these.
I'm in a
No,
suicide
but
pool.
Vegas, you got to take the odds. Someone did it.
I'm in a suicide pool with like 19 people.
That's going to
That's gonna be
That's
great.
going to shake the rotten fruit from the tree, Matt.
Hopefully. I need Arizona. Did Arizona win? Arizona won. I'm still in the suicide pool, baby. Sorry to cut you off, Kamar. I just thought you had to know that right away.
I didn't.
Okay.
Doesn't change a thing. but
All right.
That's that means something. Then they briefly talked about Justin Trudeau, the boxer. And I was
The
thinking,
boxer.
I think, but do you remember he fought a senator who then got fired for coke and hookers and stuff?
Yeah.
Brazo, I think his name was.
Yeah.
But it was a legitimate. I don't think I'd box Trudeau. I might street fight him, jump him from behind, but I think in a boxing match he might beat me. I just want to say that about our prime minister,
How tall is he?
like 6 something.
Well,
So
6 something like.
Torn on Justin Trudeau.
He's just a guy.
Because I want to hate him.
That's what I was just
He's
going to
just
say.
a guy.
He's just a dude.
Try-
He's a
trying to-
big giant
Trying to
thief,
fill the shoes of his dad.
and yet he gave us weed. So
No,
I can't.
the Liberal Party voted in before he was leader. Whoever was leader had to take the platform. You understand? It was one of the party's
Yeah,
platforms.
the Liberals gave us.
The
weed.
Liberal Party put it on their thing.
And let's be
He
fucking
became-
serious. We're the people. We gave
Don't
us
give him that
fucking
credit.
weed.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm with Kamar. We gave us weed. We did this.
He didn't spearhead that for the Liberals as like his vote for me, and I'm gonna give you fucking.
He
pot.
hopped on
hold
the
on, hold on,
coattails.
hold on. I hate to give this guy credit because I'm not certain he's a great guy. But if we're going to give anyone in this country credit for moving the pot movement forward, it's Mark Emery. And that's it. It's not Justin fucking Trudeau. The guy went to jail.
I thought he still was in jail.
No, he got out.
Speechless.
He has nothing to say.
No, I'm just
Young CIA guy just trying to make his
Is
druthers.
that true? Like, is Mark Emery more responsible? No, it's somebody like. I guess I'm wrong. I thought Trudeau had a lot to do with that, but if you're telling me that no, it was no matter who the prime minister was,
Yep.
weed was coming legal when it came legal. No, he had something to do with like.
All right, I'll meet Simon. I'll
fast-tracking
meet
it,
Simon there.
and
Yeah, sure.
They could have let that fucking flounder forever, and they could have done a decriminalized.
Hey, you know
thing.
what?
No, he was like, "Fuck
I'm
that."
with Simon now.
Open it up, let everybody make their money, and then the stupid provinces got involved, and they were like, "No, you got to do it this way and that way." Fuck. He was like, "Everybody go."
You know what I
It
think?
wasn't. He took 2 years and still it was fucked up.
Do you know what I think
Well,
Trudeau
no, they
did?
fucked it up on a million. Like I said, make me the drug czar. And
Hold on, but at the end,
We'll
they,
do more research.
hold on. Dude, they changed it like 6 times in the last 2 weeks. They got a lot wrong. They got a lot right, though, in those. Remember, it was going to be you could only smoke inside?
yeah.
And then at the last minute, they were like, okay, fuck it. You can smoke anywhere you can smoke cigarettes, you can
Yeah.
smoke weed.
Oh no, they got some things right, and they got a lot of things wrong.
Okay, but we knew, hold on, it's the government, and we knew off the jump there was no way they were getting it right.
Yeah, the
Right,
only
so-
way they were getting it right.
Is if they made Simon the drug czar.
Right.
Okay.
And
My apologies.
If I become prime minister, or
Mm-hmm.
when I become prime minister, because
Oh.
I have to spite Kamar, and spite is the biggest motivator.
Just
Yeah.
because you're just
David
like Trump.
Portnoy,
You're just like
2020.
Trump.
Because I'm just like Trump, exactly, in that regard. in that regard that
There was enough
we
of a
both
pause. There
was
operated
enough of a
off
pause.
spite. Yeah, so that's that.
So that's that.
Well, I don't remember where I was going with that.
I could tell.
Then they talked about mushrooms and the Vikings
Oh, I had that in my notes.
and the Berserker. And someone mentioned that it's actually bearskin because they were like, it's a translation thing. They wouldn't wear armor. They just
So
wear,
it's not berserker, it's bearskin or like some. Sort
and
of
then
weird-
worked into Berserker.
Gotcha.
Because Berserker means just go nuts and go insane. But it might have been a translation thinking it meant one thing.
Well, and I wonder, I really wonder if this idea of the Vikings doing mushrooms before they went into battle, if that has been mistranslated and they were actually microdosing before they went into battle. Because if you're fucking tripping balls on mushrooms, who knows if you're going to be able to fight. But if you're microdosing and that actually works and it makes your eyesight better and your coordination better and your...
Do you know?
Maybe
Remember
that makes way more sense to how they were operating.
well,
My
remember-
thoughts exactly.
when they were talking about this, I remember being so high on mushrooms and being able to, this is going to sound ridiculous. I was young. I remember being able to rap like anything. Like
You just thought you could rap.
No. That's quite possible. We're talking about fighting, and then Joe led into hand-to-hand combat. And I believe that he's still talking about microdosing. Like they're not doing a heroic dose.
That's right. That's right. But no, but I see your point, Matt. Maybe when you do mushrooms, like the big dose, you open up pathways
For
that
sure
you
you could
had skills that you had no idea you had.
well, no, but I can rap. So that's not what I'm saying. Is it just became ask Kamar. If you
No,
sat
that's the
beside me
mushrooms.
at the bar.
That's some mushrooms.
But Simon, even then, like
Raping it.
even
But
with
that's
booze,
not hand-to-hand combat or raping and pillaging a city.
Yeah, true,
and
but-
killing babies.
even then, even with booze, scientifically, they say that like you can have when you have a few drinks, you are a little bit better at almost everything.
When you have a few drinks, you are a little bit better at almost everything.
Yeah,
Looser, more comfortable. It's
That's
been
a
argued.
stat.
100%.
Till the third drink, and then you get real
That's
bad
it. And
at
then
it.
Simon,
Are you saying for an alcoholic or for
no, for
anybody?
anyone.
That can't be right.
Just
Maddie.
being, you're talking about sort of like,
Hold on. If you're 100 pounds and you never drink, I'm not saying a couple
like
drinks for
killing
that
your
person.
inhibitions. That's what you're saying.
enhanced performance.
Simon, it is 100%. It's a scientific. Let me fucking. Now I got to pull
It's
this up.
100%. You're telling me that's 100%.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's scientifically proven that you. This guy's getting up and leaving now. No, I want you to get back here.
I'll have one of those. Please. Oh, this is the best part when we look up. When we look up rapping on mushrooms. Are we still talking about rapping mushrooms?
Well, go on, Kamar, if you're...
Yeah, keep going.
Then there was intense comedy talk, which is the majority of that. And I think if you're a comic, it's amazing. If you're a younger comic, it might not be. Because it really is it used to be like this. Now it's not. But I felt for years they told the story of the comics loading up the front to destroy the headliner. And I felt for years, Joe always didn't say who was. And I felt this episode, he said Billy Crystal.
He always said Billy Crystal. I've heard him say
man.
Billy Crystal
a million
100
times.
fucking
A
times.
million
I thought-
times.
I
We've
thought I
heard
broke
this
the
story
case.
a
No.
million times,
Yeah.
and we've heard Billy Crystal a million
Yeah.
times. And he actually throws a bunch of other guys under the bus that I just can't think of. Right now.
No, there was more throwing under the bus because he was in Colin Quinn's presence. And saying about the power dynamic, money-wise and stuff, he has a dominance over Colin Quinn. But as comics, he was still has to respect Colin Quinn. They've done it both forever, but him coming up, you know what I mean? And so we have a nice power dynamic in this conversation.
But let me ask you, don't you think Joe is past that whole like this guy's a more seasoned vet than me? Like I don't think there's anyone that I don't know. I'm not sure there's anyone
There's an
that
adoration I have for all comics that have been doing it longer for me. I've been watching them. And don't get me wrong, we'll get to it. They put on a false idea that all comics get together. When they talk about Richard Jenny going to get $100 from Sam Kinison.
that was fucking hilarious.
And his security jumping him. Like, it isn't all love with comics.
No, they didn't jump Jennings though.
Or security tried to.
No, it was no. There was this is how I understood the story. He was like, this guy owes me $100. He's rich now. I'm gonna get my $100. As he was saying that to the bouncer, Kinnison was over talking to someone else and was like, write the fucking names of all your fucking people down on the thing and I'll wipe my fucking ass with it. And then the bouncer looked at Jennings and went, that guy probably asked for 50.
I heard him say he should have asked for 50, and he did get beat up.
No, I thought it was either way.
Well, no, because if it's Matt's way, it's a really funny joke. And if it's Kamar's way, it's not funny at all.
I think it was an assault, but the point was it was over $100.
I thought the funniest was the Scottish or Irish bouncer. The impression he did when he was like, your acts, how do you get on there? How do you get on stage with that shite act anyway?
It was for Dangerfields.
That was it, yeah.
The bar that's still open is obviously a mafioso
Yeah,
front.
of course, yeah.
They talked about Bert doing all the shows.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's more people clamoring for comedy or comedians needing to perform. Like what's going on right now. People trying to put on these shows and stuff. You know what I mean?
I think it's people clamoring for comedy.
But
sorry, go ahead.
They'd be clamoring for concerts or any.
Sure, but that's what I'm saying. It's they want to get out, but they think about it this way too, Kamar. You're in your own bubble, literally in your car. It's like the perfect. You don't have to go near anyone. You can smoke cigarettes, joints.
Oh no, it surprised.
We never talked about Bert Kreischer's show.
It's not out
because we haven't seen it, and we talked about it last week
outside amongst ourselves.
Yeah,
no, on the podcast.
No, we never talked about why Caitlyn Jenner is on that show.
You guys spoke about that outside, 100%.
No, we talked about it then in the post, Joe, and because it came up when we said, who do you think is going to be on next week? And he said, Bert Kreischer's going to be on because the show's coming up. And then we talked about Caitlyn Jenner and whatever.
No, that wasn't the show we were talking about. Matt was talking
Post
about
Joe.
his special.
Post, Joe.
No, he's right. In the post show, I did say that Bert would be on in the next couple of weeks because he has a show coming up. Kamar's right. I did say that.
And we were talking about how maybe we talk more in depth about Caitlyn Jenner, but there's a cast of people on that show.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, he's right.
Who makes zero sense because she's not
I heard Bert talk about it and said a lot of people are going to be offended when they watch this. Like you say, it's not every cup of tea. So maybe
by what he says to Caitlyn Jenner?
No, of course he's not going to say, wait till you see what happens with Caitlyn Jenner. He just said, it's going to be interesting when this comes out. He was like, that's so much fun. So I think something controversial happens in it. And maybe that's why Caitlyn Jenner's on the show. So we got to wait and see. Like maybe she gets punked.
Okay, fine. Come on.
Then they talked about rapid tests, which I think is the most important thing we have to focus on right now to get out of COVID.
Well, Joe was talking about having shows where they test every single person in the crowd day of with those immediate tests. That's going to cost a fucking fortune for
I know. I was
show.
like, I was like, this is where Joe is no longer.
That's fuck you, man. Like, he doesn't understand.
Yeah, I was like, no, that's
But
a
what
losing.
about if it's just like in the same vein that you have to stop, put your phone in a pocket in every show you
No,
go to?
but the difference is they have to build that into the price.
Not to mention, he then was
So
like,
it's going to be more to go to that show.
he
It's
then
gonna become
casually said, we'll just hire a few nurses. Dude,
I think he was joking.
no, you have to.
But rapid tests is important. You agree? Like he has a rapid test in his studio now, I think.
Well, they need to make a rapid test that doesn't cost $250 a shot.
Exactly. It's unrealistic, but the rapid test, I think, is a good idea.
Of course it's a good idea. I think world peace is a good idea.
Then they talked about how weird it is that the Comedy Store used to have a gang night.
That is so fucking
Like it really
weird.
had its dark period of being more.
Someone got shot there.
So what I didn't understand was this about the gang night, and maybe you know, maybe you don't. Is it like
Bloods on one side, Crips on the other?
right? Or each week a different gang gets the club?
Well, as you know, the inside of the Comedy Store is mostly red. So I'm going to assume it was a heavily blood crowd, but
Oh, that's
I
interesting.
could be wrong.
Well, no, that probably makes sense. And then maybe the ice house, because ice is blue.
So the Crips made the ice house theirs. Is that your?
Dude, this is all making sense now.
It's just so different.
Sounds
than
like-
what it is now.
If you were a young CIA agent trying to make your druthers, and you just organized out 2 comedy stores, houses, one blue, one red.
Yeah.
I wonder if it has something to do with like Democrats and Republicans.
Kamar, I got to say this. I totally disagreed with Joe. I understand it might be great for comedians. Hecklers ruin the show for the paying customer.
Yeah. Everyone's bummed.
So that's it. When he was like, I disagree with it because it really, like, you know, young comedians need that. Like, okay, well, maybe that's, I don't know. I just,
You should have to learn how to handle it.
Sure.
But you know what that is? That's just like you were saying in the military. Like they want to make it so nothing happens, and you want it so no one heckles at a comedy show.
Comedy,
it's going to happen. And that brings me to the point. If you can't handle it, it ruins you for the crowd.
yeah, but even
Like
then,
if you handle it poorly.
here's the problem is like, we were at a show, we went to see you once, and there was this terrible table, like just so they would not shut the fuck up. And I couldn't pay attention to anything but them being rude.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So like, I thought about it after, and I was like, I paid $20 to be angry at these fucks.
No, it ruins it. But to Kamar's point, that comedian should be able to control the room.
They have to say that table in the right way. Don't shame them, but get it like that's what the host does in the first 10 minutes, hopefully. And then if he hasn't done that, you may have to deal with that. And if you deal with it poorly, it's bad because it's all about stage presence.
Even then, so let me ask you though, it's gang night.
Go on down the road. Go on down the road to the next club, the Laugh Factory, whatever it is.
No shit.
But just the whole thing about the presence, like you can tell when someone's comfortable, regardless of what they're saying, if they're really that funny. It's so important to project you're being comfortable on stage.
I thought it was interesting when Joe was like, it takes a real certain person, though, to heckle in the first place. I didn't write anything.
it just as Joe says.
And then at the end, they come up to you and they're like, so we were helping you, you know, like you're lucky we were here heckling or you would have had nothing to talk about, you know, we're saving your show.
That's a narcissist.
That's a certain amount. Yes, it's this disconnect from reality,
Ties
right?
it back into our first guest.
But alcohol plays a huge part of it too.
Yeah.
When you're drunk, you're going to do things and yell things that you would never do when you're sober.
And he told that story about doing a show in Cleveland and everyone was wasted, but there's this one nice couple in the front. And I was like, oh, they're having a bad time at the show because all these other people are drunk. And then they got him a pass out on their face.
Yeah, that was good.
Who knows how many times they actually killed to the amount of drunks they've been in front of? Who knows what if they remember seeing someone, you know what I mean? Back in that day, it was just bananas.
It was just bananas.
Then they talked about Kennedy, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And we've talked about Kennedy.
Yeah. Somebody asked
We know
me,
what it is.
Joe's talked about Kennedy fucking ad nauseum.
but they never talk about my theory on Kennedy,
Oh, here we go.
that there were no shooters. That they
on.
implanted something in his brain.
Yes,
and
yes.
just
I've
blew
heard
it
that.
up.
I've heard that
The,
before.
it's
Yes,
not-
you've heard that from
it's-
him.
no,
We had
but
a
it's
whole
not-
episode where he
yes,
went off on
it's
this.
not my-
it's true.
it's not
Oh
my
my God.
theory,
That's
yeah.
what has happened to
Yes.
Simon's been listening to so many Joe Rogans. I've been listening to Simon so much now.
This is
I
great.
could have come and said, yeah, I heard this guy talking about
No, you heard-
implanted
yeah.
brain.
You say I hear it on Joe Rogan, and
Another show.
eventually that's true.
And this is how Graham Hancock is going to be like, so this lovely gentleman, Simon.
He won't like me.
Then they gave great credit to Norm Macdonald, the cigarette story, the drinking story, gambling stories, and he is again from
Ottawa, baby.
Ottawa. So he's a natural treasure.
Him
And
and-
again, I've said it before. Rounders is based on Norm Macdonald and Artie Lang.
Yeah, which is amazing to
Yeah.
me. It's so fucking crazy.
So much
when I
classier than
think
Norm
about
Macdonald. Right, like, though.
It's so much classier.
Well, and Ed Norton is so like I'm trying to put Artie Lang into that role, and I see it by the degenerate part, but I can't see it any other way.
Of course, because he's just, it's Ed
because
Norton.
he's Artie Lang and it's Ed Norton.
Well, and then Matt Damon is Norm.
Well,
Like,
that doesn't make any sense either. But
again, it's just loosely based on how they used to run around New York.
yeah, no, it's amazing. I remember the first time you told me that, and I couldn't believe it. Like I think I called you an asshole and told you it couldn't be true.
But like for some
Sounds
reason,
about right.
I put Norm Macdonald up with like Chappelle and
Oh, he's way up there.
Bill Burr. Like
I honestly
he was on
believe
SNL, got fired for like
So what is
pushing the envelope.
what's your list, Kamar? Like, what's your top 5?
Eddie Murphy.
Yep.
I bounce around about Andrew Dice Clay just because it was that time when I was 14. No, I just it just killed me. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I'm
It's
sorry.
your
No,
list.
no, but forget. Sorry, I like. What do you think the best is? You put Andrew Dice Clay as one of the best comedians of all time?
Doesn't matter. It's his list.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm just asking.
Well, yeah, he does.
Biggest? I don't
want
know.
him to qualify his statement.
I would choose him over Dane Cook. Like if we're going in big acts, like he was the first guy to sell it. He was so big, and I was so young. And it was so badass.
No,
Like,
but
he-
Yeah, but Steve Martin was big.
yeah, he's not one of mine. He's not on my.
and Carrot Top is big, but he's a
he's
shitty
not,
comedian.
and he's not
you
on
know?
mine. But I don't think Andrew Dice Clay is a shitty comedian. Like, he doesn't do that stuff. Like, it's almost like that was a character, but he does one of the best Travoltas. Like, you only know him for that. And that they talked about Otto George, and I've heard he's taken some of his jokes from Otto and George. Speaking of joke thieves,
The comedian ventriloquist.
yeah. Which I think then you get a complex when you do that too long. And you're drinking and you're doing drugs and you're always thinking about the things the puppet's going to say.
Well, and somebody's insulting the puppet, and then you got to stand up for the puppet, so you're constantly fighting people. Like,
Not
it's
even
crazy.
imagine you're drunk at a bar one night without the puppet, and you just some guy sitting beside you, and you're like, whatever, and then you say some shit, and then he's just like, what was that? And you were like, no, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, it's just you.
Like, you just slip into it by accident.
I think that can mess you up.
Of course, it could fuck
The
you up.
puppet's not even around. You just throw in your voice.
Split your personality.
But even then, like I'm saying, like let's say the puppet was racist, like a racist old puppet, and then you do that, you know, and some guy's like, "What the fuck?" and you're like, "No, it was the puppet." You don't have,
Yeah, you're just
the
doing
puppet's
it
in the
with
trunk.
You're doing it with your
Yeah,
hand.
not even your hand. You
I'm doing it. I'm doing the puppet. This is universal for puppet.
can't see my racist hand.
You
Go
just
ahead,
have
Kumar.
a hand painted black. Just from the
Blackface?
wrist
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Very funny. Otto and George. Look it up. Then they turned it into, like, I was thinking how all these mobsters and killers have their podcasts, their YouTube channels, their
Yeah.
vlogging.
Yeah.
And it's like they're impervious to cancel culture.
Yeah, well, you can't cancel someone that's like, I admitted to everything. It's weird.
Well, it's like Tekashi 6ix9ine coming back and thinking he can put out albums after being a rat. You know, I'm just gonna do it.
Well, you bring up Tekashi 6ix9ine. Tory Lanez just got charged and is facing 22 years.
In the States?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well,
he's like 5'4". He's not going to do well.
He's like 20 years old.
Who's Tory Lanez?
Canadian
He was that
rapper.
rapper that shot the wet ass pussy, Meg Thee Stallion,
Stallion.
in the foot.
So he has to go to jail for shooting Megan in the foot?
If
No, he
convicted.
got shot in the foot. I
He
thought.
shot her in the foot.
Oh, he shot her in the foot. I thought he got shot in the foot while he was trying to bring her downstairs.
I don't know.
Are you sure that's not
In
are
a
you
normal
sure?
fashion.
I know he's been charged and he's facing 22 years.
No, don't. It doesn't have to be right up at your face. Like,
Are you sure that's not what happened, Kumar?
I'm not sure what happened.
You're not
allegedly,
sure what happened.
I have
allegedly,
no
he
idea what
shot her
happened. I
in the
wasn't
foot.
there.
Sorry, who got shot? For real. For real.
Megan the Stallion.
Megan Thee Stallion went to the hospital to get a treated foot. This guy is now in court for shooting her in the
Yes,
foot.
on
Correct.
gun charges.
Thank you. I was under the assumption that he got in a fight with her and shot himself in the foot.
No, I thought he was going to be deported. Now they're charging him there, and they're going to
We
fucking.
discussed it and came up with a couple theories, but no one knows what actually happened. But I was just speaking to he might be canceled. It was more about the mobsters.
Megan Thee Stallion. The Stallion. The Stallion.
No, not D. It's THEE. Megan the
The
Stallion.
Stallion. Is super famous right now. She's like big.
I
No,
know.
wet ass pussy is pretty big.
Oh, that's her.
She even did Hot Girl Summer. Yeah, she's huge.
But she's also huge. Like, she's very tall.
She performed. Yes. She's a full grown woman.
Hence the Stallion.
Like 6.5 feet.
I don't think she's that tall.
Oh no. You
Maybe in
don't-
heels.
Do you know
You
how
think
tall
she's
she-
6'6"?
I'm asking. I don't know how tall she
Okay.
is.
I mean, 6'6" is real big for a woman.
I'm wondering how big she is.
Okay.
Because Cardi B is very small, is she not? So isn't that like a very juxtaposy video, those two together for WAP?
I like that you think that directors, cinematographers haven't figured out how to you
Well,
know
they
that Tom
have-
Cruise is in movies.
She's
right?
5'10".
They have her.
She's 5'10".
They have her in flats and Cardi in heels or something.
It's
They have
camera
apple
angles.
boxes.
It's
They have
camera
all- yeah,
angles.
Just
camera,
joking.
yeah.
I just come on, guys.
Forced perspective,
This is
Simon.
ridiculous.
Dickhead.
Go on. Come
I had something to say.
Say
Go ahead.
it.
I can't remember.
Then it was. Did you feel like he was just shitting on Dan Aykroyd's belief in
Yep.
the supernatural?
Well, it's just
to your
like-
chagrin.
It's not to my chagrin. It's like Joe has a problem. He claims to be open-minded and then is not open-minded. That's a problem.
But it bothered you when he was like, Dan Aykroyd believes in Bigfoot. Like,
It's the money.
dismissive.
The money's gone to his head.
He's compromised.
Is it the money? It's the money. It's the money.
Something.
So it's funny you say that. He opens his mind, though, it seemed to Satanists when him and Duncan performed at the party. It was like, you know, but he was just more of the sexual, like, deviant Satanist. Like, not that. Like, what? You don't have to denounce Satanism, but.
There are two different types of Satanists, though.
You're aware of this before Joe brought this up? Or-
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched the
because-
documentary.
The documentary, exactly. Thank you.
They have a couple of tenants, 12 tenants, I believe.
Yeah, and most of them are like live happy and free and no government, and then there's the type of Satanists who are doing like sex magic to open portals to bring through and like using the blood of children, and like that's a thing, you know. I'm just not. I don't know if they're both Satanists per se, or if.
But are you
like,
open-minded to the idea
one
of Satanism?
believes Lucifer was like a good guy who was portrayed wrong by the Catholic Church, and the others believe that Lucifer is actually like, or maybe it's not even Lucifer for them. Maybe it's like Beelzebub or who's that bull-headed deity there? Shit, it'll come to me. I sorry guys. Whatever. What's that fucking guy's name, Kamar?
The devil?
He's a devil, and he has the head of like a goat. It's not Beelzebub, but it's something with a B. It's
Beowulf. No, I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Go on.
Are you looking for it,
find
Matt?
I'm trying to find it, yeah.
I'm gonna find it right now, but you can go on.
All I'm getting is ancient Egypt, but that's not
No,
what we're
but did
looking for.
you get that feel that Joe was very dismissive of Dan Aykroyd, his beliefs in the supernatural?
Baphomet.
Baphomet, of course. I'll tip my tongue.
There you go.
But was open to Satanism.
Yeah. Well, again, it's what Joe decides to be closed-minded about. But because he went to a wedding, it would look bad on him if he was like denounce Satanism, but then he went to the Satanist wedding. So he has to take the stance he's got to take. Like, listen, when you're this famous and you're this rich, you can't take any chances anymore.
Agreed.
So yes, there is something to this idea of having fuck you money and being able to do anything you want. But I am going to say that since he's gotten the money, he's gotten less fuck you and more fuck me. I don't think that's the opposite of that sort
He's
of
going
fuck
to
you.
he's taking
But
it now.
you see where I was going. Listen, I have to work off the cuff here,
Listen,
Matt.
man, I'm with you.
I'm not looking at a green screen like some of these other podcasts or a teleprompter.
I was gonna say,
This is all coming
the
right
green
out of
screen.
here.
all right. What else do you have there, Kumar? Was that it?
Then they talked about Narcos, and I felt away when Joe said he didn't follow it all the way down.
I felt him.
No, you're a fucking idiot. Narcos Mexico is fucking incredible.
And you know what makes it incredible? Seems more realistic because it's done in Spanish rather than if it was all translated, you know,
Yeah,
like
of
Red
course.
October or
Yeah,
something.
100%.
So it makes it more authentic and allows you to lose yourself in the world and think you're really watching it, which I think is any movie or show is trying to do.
I'll also say, in this day and age, to be honest, a subtitled show that's done super well is almost better because you have to pay attention. You cannot be on your phone. You can't, like, you'll miss it. That's it.
You immerse yourself in it.
100%.
Narcos is one of the only times in Jim Rogan. Jesus Christ.
Narcos is one of the only times in Jim Rome. What the fuck? You just have a stroke?
Because I almost said Jim Rome.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
Joe Rogan, where I don't know what the fuck is going on.
You've seen all the Narcos?
No, I've seen zero Narcos ever.
Oh, hold on. Whoa.
Yeah.
Can we back up a sec? You haven't seen any at all. Zero. No Narcos.
Never a one. You want to know why?
No.
Because I don't believe in subtitles.
Yeah, because you got to do something at the same time.
I only want subtitles if I'm watching an English show. I use them. Like to go along with the...
I fucking hate you.
It's like a bonus.
You
But
know- you know what?
I don't want to have to depend on them.
It's just we can't discuss Narcos
So in order
with you.
for
It's
me to watch Narcos, I need to learn Spanish.
This is why we can't have nice things.
It is. I'd be very interested if you're like, I'm surprised Joe didn't follow the Narcos all the way down. Because you know Joey Diaz loves it.
I should watch the first season. What is the first season?
Oh, no. You're on
It's
your own now.
Narcos. That's it.
It's just Narcos, just nothing
And
else.
it's Pablo Escobar.
Is that the best one?
Pablo Escobar is good.
Okay, listen,
was
I'm
good
o-
enough for Joe, but apparently he fell off after that.
I'm
But
only
I think
gonna
it
watch
it
one.
may only
You're
get
not,
better.
because I'm telling you, well, no, Simon, you enjoy good television. I know this about you. You get engaged
I do.
very easily.
I do like good television.
So what I'm telling you is, once you're done season 1, you'll just finish the rest.
You know-
I didn't know that. I thought you had done season
No, no,
1
no,
and then were
no.
disinterested. So
You
I
know
wasn't even
what's
going to
a great
bother.
thing about me too, Matt? Not only do I like great
Speaking of narcissism,
cinema,
yeah.
I also like shitty cinema.
Well, this is not. It's really.
That's what type of guy I am.
It's hard. I don't know if cinema and shows are the same.
I guess my point
are now,
is
yeah.
I guess
I
so.
can appreciate Sopranos,
back in the
but I
day.
can also appreciate Kingdom.
Kamar, when it was. Kamar,
You dismissed Kingdom. You
No,
said it was horrible.
It is horrible.
But you loved
that's
it.
what he was saying. He loves bad.
I
and he
can.
loves.
I like watching bad TV as much as I like watching good TV.
But you didn't like Cobra Kai because you haven't mentioned it at all.
Cobra Kai is too bad to watch. There are levels of badness. Cobra Kai is insulting my intelligence. Kingdom was just entertaining. And the fighting parts were kind of real. Cobra Kai is so far-fetched and stupid. It's like they are insulting our intelligence. It is made for babies, not even for kids, like babies, 0 to 8 years old.
It's hyperbolic.
And Kamar, you can't say that. Like watching something like Narcos, there's the cinematography is incredible. The shots are that's film. That's cinema. It's just digital.
How much of Cobra Kai did you watch?
All of it.
Oh my god.
2 seasons?
I had this special YouTube pass. I watched it when it came out.
That's what I was gonna say. So it's just the same thing that was on YouTube on Netflix now.
No, I think so. I haven't looked at it because I know on YouTube there's no new episodes. So
So what happened? Netflix bought it from YouTube? Or the rights? I don't understand.
licensing probably much like this $3 billion deal Joe negotiated
32 billion.
a week.
We're towards the end of the episode now. Come on.
Yeah.
A week.
And then this ended up sort of sound like almost the same as the Tim Dillon podcast talking about Juliana, and the
Giuliani,
city,
yeah.
and just la la la.
How about what they're doing to the Jews?
Who?
We'll save it for the post show.
Okay.
Well, we're silencing you and your Jew talk, Simon.
Yeah, I see what you're doing. You're doing exactly
Yeah,
what
the Palestinian over
exactly
here.
what Bloomberg
What?
and fucking what's his name are doing.
You would be
Trying to silence
interested.
the Jews.
I just watched Lex Friedman and Mike Malice. It's a really good podcast because Mike Malice isn't silly or
Is Mike Malice a Jew? Because I just found out that Lex Friedman is a Jew.
Friedman.
Friedman.
Fried-
It's Friedman.
Friedman's
There's no Eid.
extra Jewy.
That's less Jewy.
No, believe me.
No Eid.
Friedman.
Friedman is pretty Jewy, actually.
Friedman asks, how would people look at Hitler if there was no Holocaust? Like if he didn't commit that atrocity?
Okay. It's an interesting question.
It is an interesting question. Just because in the vein that like the Bill Burr joke and stuff, like
So what does he,
Mao and Stalin killed way more people through starvation, but it was their own people. Not that it was to be discounted. He's Jewish. Like he said it, like he misspoke, and then it became a thought.
like if the Germans had just killed everybody else except them and didn't focus so much on like the Jews, the blacks, and the gays.
Yes,
Gypsies, too. Gypsies.
Sorry, and the gypsies.
They were more equality.
Sorry,
They had more
travelers.
Right? Like if he really wanted to make this master race, then just exterminate everybody but yourself. Maybe that was his problem.
equality. Well, that's what they're doing to the Jews, and we're not doing that here. We're not silencing your voice.
Well, you did. You totally silenced me because I wanted to talk about how right now they're being persecuted in New York City.
It's enough, Simon.
Because because they don't want to wear masks. And they're fighting against lockdown.
Yeah, and you know what? It's
Yeah.
the Hasids, who you're not even a big fucking fan of. So
I'm not a fan of any of them. I'm not. I just thought it was whatever. It was worth talking about.
Bandwagon here. No, I thought it was a great podcast, and
It's true. They're burning masks and shit. They're crazy. Those fucking. It's
The Hasids are out of
Orthodox,
control.
Yeah.
those are all my notes.
all right, so that's it.
Do you feel like it was inadequate?
Do I feel like it was inadequate?
My note taking. There was just a lot of comedy talk.
No, you know what though? If I would give you any feedback, if I may, small piece on air. When Simon gives notes, I don't know. It's because you do real bullet point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why. It's not even a knock. It's just when you do it, it's like they talked about.
And you get angry with me if it
that's
seems
fine. Don't worry
No,
about it.
no,
if
no.
we don't stick to your bullet points. This is organic, man. Sometimes you end up way over here when you're over here. That's something I've learned from taking notes for however many 100 episodes we've done.
But what I try to do
See the
is
flex.
take a point from the podcast,
Yeah.
drop it on the table, and have it devoured.
Come on.
And then when I feel there's not much left of it,
yeah, you don't get to make that decision.
I do.
But no, you don't.
Okay, I'll stop doing that.
Well, no, I don't mind that. I didn't. I wasn't even knocking him. I was just saying. Forget
It
it.
was a comparison, I felt.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just used to his note taking. Yours is rather new, right? And I was just saying he writes full sentences. Yours is more bullet point. And that was just it. Is once I worked it out in my head what the difference was, I don't care.
Well, no,
I'm fine.
But I think that's the difference. Is I think you got to just be ready to go anywhere.
Well, that you do. You do have to be ready to go anywhere.
Like,
But
and
hold
if
on.
you're so strict in your
No,
mind
but
about how you got to stick to these fucking bullet points,
What you're not
going to
e-
be disappointed.
what
'cause
you're not even-
sometimes you don't get through all your notes. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes, Matt, come on, I had 4
I know.
pages of aliens. We got through one of them. Like, you just abandon shit. You
Well,
know?
I always get through my notes. But what I'm saying
I
is,
know you do.
what I try to do is, once we go off, catch that with the next note. And then you don't notice it so much, and it just keeps going. Rather than when we have to say, or you turn and look at me and you go, okay, your next point. And then, you know what I mean? You've stopped your organic conversation. It's just different styles.
102 episodes, and we haven't figured out a goddamn thing.
It's fine. No problem.
In the new setup.
I mean, full disclosure, we've spoken in the past about the idea of just before we sit down talking about 4 or 5 bullet points from each episode and just hitting those. I don't know. Maybe give us your feedback. Tell us what you
Yeah,
think.
please.
Let
I would
us
be
know.
more than fine with that.
But let's do this in the post show. I think it's a serious thing we could discuss. We got to
Sure.
still rate Colin Quinn.
Yeah. Let's start with you, Kumar.
I give it a 4. I just love old timey comedy. And
Old time. I love you. You make it sound like he's like
he's a
Shecky
boy.
Green in the
I know I've
Catskills.
told the stories a million times, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Simon.
I think they were fucking around with the idea of him running the comedy store, Austin. Is that where Joe lives?
I don't know. I think he might be consulting.
But I think that would be fucking amazing if Colin Quinn ran it and was just like
I think
curated.
I think he says he just wants to set him up. He doesn't want to like be there for the day to day.
Maybe he does though. Maybe he wants to do that.
No one wants to be anywhere for the day to day. I also you rated it? No.
I give it a 4.
Oh, agreement.
Yeah.
I also give it a 4.
I cannot believe that it took 1,200 plus episodes to get Colin Quinn on the
15.
fucking Joe
15.
Rogan experience.
15.
15. Yeah, sorry. 15,
Yeah.
40, 15, 44, 45, 46.
Long
something like that.
overdue.
We've had Tom Papa weekly for like 2 years.
I thought about that today.
That's insane when you think about how many times Tom Papa has been on in comparison to.
Brendan Schaub has been on 89 times.
When did Patrice O'Neill die? Before or after Joe had started the show?
Same time.
No, Patrice died after he started the show, didn't he?
The show was going when Patrice died.
Yeah. I think it was a few years in.
And he had never been on either.
No,
but it
I
wasn't-
would have done that as a throwback
Of
immediately.
course.
Immediately.
No.
legendary.
I know he hasn't been on. I'm saying, but he had never been on either. How many years did he go without being on?
I'm about to
1
find
year,
out.
2 years.
Not many.
He
Not where it was
died.
big enough to get Patrice on,
He died late 2011.
and it
So-
started in 2010. So.
Yeah, so it's literally.
It would have been he would have been on it, obviously.
Yeah.
The other thing though was Patrice didn't really leave New York.
Yeah.
So like he wouldn't have traveled somewhere to be on Joe's
And
podcast.
Joe's
He was on
show
Opie and Anthony.
wasn't what it was.
Yeah. Like Opie, he was a regular on Opie and Anthony. He would have been like, why would I go do that when I could just do this? You know what I mean? He never would have done it.
Until now.
Oh, now he would for sure.
Exactamundo.
Rest in peace. One of the best. He's probably in my top 5.
100% he's in my top 5.
Incredible.
We may have a consistent thing though with scientist, hunter, comedian. Dan Rosen.
Maybe. I mean,
Pattern. I don't know if it's true or not, but
I don't know if I'd hate that. I mean, I'd hate it for our show, but I wouldn't hate it in the like. That's kind of what you used to want, I guess, right? That
Yeah.
consistency of like,
And a wild ball every once in a while.
sure.
Wild card.
You're right, though. No MMA's in a long time. Anyway, that's it, guys. If you made it this far, wow. Look at you go.
Nobody made it this far.
I made it this far.
We made it this far.
You're our number one fan, Kamar.
I believe so.
You were the first to join the Patreon.
But it's starting to hurt me because my replays of YouTube to keep our views up is starting to get charged for the data. So every little bit helps.
You can only pretend to be so many different people in a day.
That's it. Thank you so much. If you want to get in touch with us, there is a Reddit or subreddit, sorry. It's reddit.com/JREE podcast. Drop us a line, say what's up, give us your opinion, that sort of thing. There's Instagram and Twitter. They're both /JREE podcast. You can follow Kamar on Instagram.
At Kamar Babar.
You can...
If you don't know, then you don't know.
Wigger.
Wow.
Whoa. What?
If you don't know,
Did
now
he
you know.
just drop the
Oh,
N-bomb?
no, he said Wigger.
W-bomb. And that's
W
Muslim
bomb.
in China.
That's Uyghur.
Uyghur.
I
And if you don't know, now you know.
Mispronounced, yeah.
Did I miss anything? Yeah, I missed a few things. There's a YouTube. It's youtube.com/JREE podcast. If you want to watch the show, we put them up there. We also did the field goal a couple weeks ago. So it is...
it's blown up. It is our viral hit. I mean, it's not viral by industry standards, but
Yeah.
thank you for everyone.
200 views going strong. But thank you guys that did watch it. We appreciate it. And then the Patreon, of course. If you want to support the show, you can do so for as little as $5 a month. It's patreon.com/JREE podcast. For that, you'll get a bunch of extras. We release a bunch of content on there every month. First, you get the post show on Tuesday with the normal episodes, so you don't have to wait till Friday for the post show. You will also get 3 or 4 episodes of This Won't Age Well, the series where we go back. We listen to old episodes and we do what we do here on the normal show. And then starting November, we have some new stuff coming. We have Simon's Conspiracy Corner, and we have Kamar's advice column. So if you guys want, send in your questions for Kamar. They can be anything.
Well, there's one question that I would have an issue, and please make it advice or something.
No, ask him anything.
Someone asked me a question about Star Wars, and I don't know what the answer is. And I don't even know how to look it up.
You got to do a little bit of research, man.
No, I cannot watch these movies to try to get the idea of what's going on and what's right or wrong.
Maybe he should be directing a Star Wars comment to me.
Well, that's what I thought, but I tried to look it up. Like, what the fuck's he talking about? Like, yeah, go with the Padwin or whatever, but I have no idea. I really don't know where to start. And I'm insulted that someone thought I was like balls deep in Star Wars.
What was it?
We'll do in the post show. Patreon is very important.
What is it?
Thank you to everyone.
Patreon.com/JREE podcast? JREE podcast?
Dude, just slowly back that chair up until you're out of the
Is
shot.
that right, though? Is that right?
Patreon.com/JREE podcast. Join for as little as $5 a month. That is it for this week. Stick around for the post show. You guys have anything else in closing?
We love you guys. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, you are.
Happy Thanksgiving to all the Canadians related.
If you're Canadian and not First Nations, happy Thanksgiving. If you're First Nations, we're sorry. If you're American, happy fucking weekend, whatever. That's it, right?
It's so weird that we have different Thanksgivings.
Yeah.
Why do we have different Thanksgivings?
Oh, I got one. Post show. Thanks, guys.
That's it. Thank you so much.
Keep your eyes open.